Hello and welcome to the Ile Notre Dame for round 6 of the 2026 Formula Sprint 1 Championship in GPVWC. It is, of course, the Canadian Grand Prix. My name is Edward Hunter. Alongside me is Mr. Eoin Harmon and our broadcast director, Fabian Jungbluth, of course, who will be looking to take you through as much of the action as is humanly possible then. So here we are then, another exciting round of this championship, Eoin, and it's another interesting street circuit, which, as has been so often the case so far this season, everybody is looking to catch Alex Lahoe. But of course, after a difficult last round out at Sepang in Malaysia for the Frenchman, where he won the first race but then was much less successful in the reverse grid encounter, the gap is ever so slightly closed in compared to the nearly, what was it, nearly 90 points it was going into Sepang. It's gone down 80, to, I believe, just 75, 80 or so over Frank Hamming at the moment, as you can see on screen in front of you then. So yeah, it's definitely a an interesting stage in this championship then, where the challengers trying to build a little bit of momentum in the form of Harmon, who's been really consistent, took his first win of the season in Jeddah and has since really gone from strength to strength in the reverse grid races. Jack Mayer, who's been on a bit of a podium streak lately in all of the last 3 or 4 races. And then we've got Patrick Rozak, who won on the road at Bahrain, didn't quite get to keep the win. And then Omari Watson, of course, won the reverse grid race at Melbourne, but hasn't quite had things go his own way since. And then a couple of other runners in the top 10 looking to push forward, like Lucas Violin for KKR, Scott Flack for Overpower, who got his first podium here last season, Alex Gonzalez-Green, who started the season so well and is starting to slowly recover his form, Menno Klont, always in thereabouts, Menno looking to pick off the front runners if they mess up, and Michael Francesconi, of course, the former Super League driver, who has really been excelling since taking over the second HGP Motorsports seat. So, Eoin, we're about to start qualifying, but yeah, it's an interesting picture in the championship, particularly the teams, it must be said.
Yeah, definitely. The team's championship is the key narrative, as of course, Che Hatch has proven to be a superb signing based off his first appearance in Sepang. Very, very impressed by him in both races. So if Che can back up his teammate Alex and make sure he can continue his good form, then that will lead to even greater things for Hugh. But of course, you can never rule out Potencia and their very prestigious duo there, Jack Mayer and Omari Watson. They're always ones to watch. And definitely the opportunity for Frank Hamming and HGP to pick up more pieces. He loves this track, I believe, from history, does Frank, and he'll be one to watch as well. So yeah, bon soiree to all of our viewers, and let's get it on in the cloudy conditions, has to be said. It's not a nice sunny day in Montreal. It is rather cloudy.
Well, you said let's get it on, not me. But anyway, yeah, moving aside infantile stuff. Sorry, I got very distracted there because I tried to go to the GPV website to look at what the standings were, and then I got a account suspended message, which seems a little bit odd. I don't remember doing anything particular. Okay, I was a little rude to Toby last year, but I apologized, and I thought I'd been forgiven. Apparently not. Anyway, I guess there's some grudges do just randomly flare up there and again. Or maybe Casper Kuritz did it. I don't know. But if Casper, if you're listening, I do apologize for upsetting you the other day. Anyway, so from my end, all is forgiven. So we'll see if that. I completely doubt Casper had anything to do with that. But anyway, it's always worth just to try and repair a few bridges here and there. But anyway, speaking of bridges, plenty of ones over the circuit at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. There should be one. There we go, with the big GPVWC logo. that looks like one of the CM Tech cars. It's almost certainly. Is that Menno or is that Vopke Hoekstra? It looks a bit more like Vopke. Yeah, there we go. Vopke's, yeah, Menno has a slightly different helmet. Vopke's got the white one, doesn't he? I forget what Menno's one looks like. Menno's one's slightly more blue, isn't it? Yeah, we go. Cookie at the top. There we go. Okay. But anyway, yeah, Vopke Hoekstra, of course, having well, I'd love to tell you what the standings are, how he's done so far this season. I think he's only got 2 or 3 13th places so far. I think he did get a 13th place in the first race at Sepang last time out. So he's been slowly getting a bit more consistency. But yeah, I sort of somewhat embarrassing in the preseason predictions predicted him to win the championship, didn't I? But before I knew about Alex Laho getting the Hugh Performance seat, of course, and Hugh obviously gone from 2 completely different drivers to what they signed up the season and started with. But of course, they're a new team. They're allowed to do that, I guess, more than any other, because they're sort of still finding their way. And certainly it's worked so far with them. They've got Laho beefed up by the new improved Che Hatch, of course, the Englishman in that second seat. Really impressive last time out, both solidly in the top 5, top 6 in both races at Sepang then, as we look at Gal 82's Michel Galka, who's looking to recover from a difficult start to the season, starting his lap as well.
Yeah, so Michel's car is our thumbnail selection of the day, so hopefully that'll be a good omen for the number 55 around Montreal. So we'll have to wait and see, of course. Our first sectors have been logged, and the actual purple time as of my sentence is a Patrick Roshak with a 20.8. So unfortunately, Michel is about half a second off that, but definitely not the end of the world if you're within perhaps 1 second of the pole sitter. This circuit Gilles Villeneuve is quite short compared to a lot of other circuits. So yeah, it's definitely a chance to stick within perhaps 8 to 9 tenths of the pole sitter if you perform to your maximum. If you're not expected to get on the podium, then that's probably your target.
There we go. I've just been checking, actually. Apparently, it's not just me that gets the account suspended message. It's everybody. So
We're all
there's
suspended.
certainly no thing that I've particularly done that seems to have annoyed someone. So yeah, I always seem to think when you get a message like that seems specifically your account suspended, that maybe you did something wrong. But nope, it's just everybody. It seems that if I've done something wrong, everybody else is guilty of the same sin too. There we go. Galka sets his first flying lap. 14th at the moment. He's hoping to find a bit more time. Looking very twitchy, though. Oh, there's his teammate Cardas, who's usually been the stronger of the 2 out of 82 so far this season. But his first qualifying lap ending without the front wing on that car. So clearly he has lost it, I would assume, at the chicane just before the hairpin then.
Yeah, that would make sense. We need to double check that, of course, as we witness Frank Hamming secure an early top 5, as the track will definitely rubber in as the session progresses. So he's about 0.3 of a second off his teammate, though. Michael Francesconi, absolutely superb there to get onto the front row. But Patrick Roszak, he set the tone in the first sector, getting that first purple, and he completed the lap successfully. So 1:15.7 is the benchmark, roughly anticipated in the build-up. So definitely an early signs that the Emerald Hummingbird is tip-top, or in tip-top condition. Alexander Ragoza, can he get anywhere close? I'm afraid not to be there, but 2.3 seconds behind is worthy of 21st position. His teammate Pablo Serrano is a fraction ahead, so that's not too bad for 0-1. If they can hang about in the 20th to 23rd positions, they have a chance to build their way up in the actual feature race.
Yeah, full 30-car grid, by the way. Yo Soppinen has gotten aboard the second Scuderia Capco, so both regular drivers of Junio Lopez and Michael Tuamala both absent. So they've got Soppinen doing his usual super sub trick, and another of our popular FS2 super subs having a go at FS1, Domenico Scarpelli, in the Capco as well, as he bounces off the wall at turn 3, which quite a lot of drivers, 3 and 4 I should say, which quite a lot of drivers, including my drivers, were doing, often to a catastrophic effect in the races, sadly. In the case of Lola Petraglia, I think her race basically chance of points ended with hitting the wall there. So it's easily done. Even in the smaller cars, the bigger they go, the easier it is to understeer into that wall. We've even seen it in Superliga. I remember Lucas Murno was filling in for Green Stripes in the Super League race here last season, and his race came to an end just at that section as well. So it's sort of deceptively tricky. You see Che Hatch going right to the outside. You can see with the bridge, just when they get under the bridge there for turn 8 and 9, it widens out slightly, and Che Hatch changed his line just to get the maximum turn in from the outside there. So that's definitely a line that Che Hatch would have rehearsed many times in practice for this one then, as the Hugh Performance man. Obviously setting his lap reasonably late in the session, along with his teammate Laho, who's still in the pits, and Omari Watson too, it must be said. So we'll have to see where this puts him. Can he get anywhere near Patrick Roszak as he climbs over the curbs at the final chicane and avoids the Wall of Champions?
And full throttle to the start-finish line, and that's P7 for Hatch. That is impressive again. He'll now waiting for his teammate Lahu. He'll have to lead the example. Yeah, he's into the final sector now. Purple first and a green second, as you'd expect. Which should be roughly on target for a front row if he can complete this lap. So he actually pitted recently, so I beg your pardon. He was on course for a good lap, but he pitted it. So this is his next attempt on the out lap. So there is a sign that who can get onto the front row. Absolutely, it's possible. He just has to prove it. Scott Flack needs to find another 0.2 of a second to break past Francesconi and get himself secure on that second position, or maybe go for Paul. At the moment, yeah, he's not quite on target for P1, but he's still looking pretty quick here, Ed, as he goes too heavy into the Wall of Champions. That will
you can see that coming a mile away as Mayer goes up to P2, slots just ahead of Francesconi then. So Jack Mayer, who of course won this race in Superlights a couple of seasons ago, didn't he, in a fight against Alex Laho. Now they're both fighting for the win, just a tier down in FS1. So yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting hearing the obviously there must have been a mistake from Laho, but we saw in Australia that in qualifying on the street tracks, he sometimes struggles a little bit more to nail everything together, although you wouldn't put past Alex bucking the trend, because whenever you predict Alex Laho to do badly, he tends to pull something out the bag and prove everybody wrong. He's made a very, very consistent habit of that last couple of years. So as we look at Pessi Mikkonen, another of our drivers subbing in, I think Mikkonen is one of our academy drivers, if I'm not mistaken, as Laho gets very, very sideways at turn 5 and 6 there.
Yeah, a little bit loose, but thankfully nothing too serious. Head now to the 8-9 chicane. Got to avoid that sort of tiny runoff area on the inside. Get too close to the barrier, then you're going to get the pickup on your tires. It won't be at all pleasant, but yeah, he's looking solid enough here.
Yeah, very, very close to Rozak. Look at those sector times.
Yeah, they are close, but he needs to secure 30.9 roughly to really close the gap on the Emerald Hummingbird. So this is the deep breath moment now, the final chicane, the wall of champions, always lurking on the right hand side, but he does absolutely fine there. Lots of use of the curb, pushing as best he can. Yeah, this will be 1:15. It is pole, 200ths of a second. He found that time in the final sector. The aggression through the final chicane has paid dividends.
Yeah, he really just absolutely sent it over those curbs and just went absolutely flying. But he really, really judged it well. And you can tell that's someone who has set the car up to travel over those curbs without having to make the suspension too high to the point where he's just losing downforce on the rest of the track then. So they had just enough travel to be able to get control of that and get on the throttle early enough without worrying about being sent into the wall of champions, as we've seen for Scott Flack and a couple of others weren't quite able to nail it on their previous efforts. As Cardas keeps his front wing on this time, goes up to P13 then. Important lap for the pole there. Galley 2 desperately need as many points as they can as they try to sneak in to the top 10 in the team's table. As Soppinen to the line, can he get off the final spot on the grid with 5 minutes to go? Yes, he can, but only because Omari Watson is still stationary in the pit lane then. So no movement from Watson, and he needs to get a move on soon because P1 might be getting a bit concerned here.
Yeah, definitely the pressure building now. This is when the
potential,
track be, yeah, the potential, yes. Yeah, potential be a little bit worried. Not the end of the world, though. There's still some time with this circuit now peaking in its traction, and the rubber should definitely help out. Temperature is not really going to increase anytime soon as Hatch crossed the line and he finds the improvement to rise from 9th to 4th. So that's a huge boost yet again for Hugh Performance, and so close yet so far in terms of beating Jack Mayer for that position. Yeah, Potentia still working away as best they can.
Yeah, interestingly, race view showing Jack Mayer P20th with a 1 minute 16.9, but his best lap clearly on the timing screen on the left, it is a 1:16.0, I think. So I think there's an error there. I think the timing screen must be the accurate one that we're seeing on screen, as Mikkonen is about to abandon this lap in the Alpha Sierra, but he has gotten up to 15th ahead of Cardas then. So Mikkonen actually doing very, very well as the Finn.
Just a bit of bizarre news as Juho Soppinen says he's Gonzalez Green heavily into the wall, and that will be the end of his session. So he's going to have to settle for 18th at the very best. But I was just about to say, Juho Soppinen has turned up on the Discord and says it's not him driving. But someone has taken his name and put himself forward in a bizarre circumstance here. I may have to talk about it behind the scenes to see exactly what's going on.
I hope this isn't exactly what I think it is. We did have somebody disrupt the FS2 race in a quite horrible way, to put it mildly. So I wonder if this is more shenanigans from someone looking to troll and flame GPVWC, especially with the website being down. It could be a DDoS attack. So yeah, let's hope we don't see more of that come the race, because if that ends up affecting the championship, I think a lot of people will not be happy. But anyway, Patrick Rozak continuing on his merry way, trying to cut that gap to Alex Laho. At least, even if there is an interloper, it shouldn't impact this qualifying session because it is private, of course, as Alex Laho is looking even quicker in these first two sectors. So, yeah, it's all about if he can match that final sector.
Exactly, yeah, the final sector. So vital in these FS1 chassis cars. So yeah, if you can find the balance between the aggression on the curbs with traction on exit without hitting the wall of champions, that's the magic trick here. And we're going to see it again from Lahu. That's absolutely spot on. You can see how grippy those tires were, really in fine fettle across the line. And it is a time, yeah, it is a 0.2 second improvement. Just a little bit slower in sector 3, but his first 2 sectors were immaculate, and that's increased the gap as Rorschach has to adapt with 2 minutes 15 seconds remaining. And of course, Mayer, Hatch, Francesconi, they've got something in the pipeline, I'm sure, heading into their final 2, hopefully maybe laps.
Okay, Laho's still continuing to improve, so it's interesting that he set one really quick lap on the softs and then he's going out and immediately attacking again. So that shows you that these softs can take 2 laps of a beating from one of the most aggressive qualifying drivers out there, although he goes a little wide actually through that second chicane. So we'll have to see. Yeah, in fact, loses just a little time, but only 12 thousandths then in that second sector then. So Laho, always spectacular to watch. As we see, I think Francesconi's gone into the pits, so I don't think we'll be seeing him doing any more improvements then. So Che Hatch, we have heard, apparently according to Alessandro Maggio, Che Hatch escaped back to the pit. So in a future race, the next one he does, he might have a back of the grid penalty coming his way if that's the case. But it shouldn't affect him today, of course. And there we go. Juba completing what should be his... at least his penultimate lap here, trying to improve on P9, and he gets up to P7 then, ahead of Phelan and Hamming. So great lap from the Englishman there.
Lovely stuff, and that will increase the potential. Yeah, they get on, and Mikkonen trying again here. Not too shabby in 13th position, a second and 5 thousandths off pole position. At the moment, he's a little bit down in the first sector. Not the end of the world though if he commits to the lap. At this stage, he may just cross the line and see what happens if he has enough fuel in the tank. Again, a little bit off pace in the middle sector, but not impossibly out of range yet. There is still a bit of time coming to him in the final sector. Jack Mayer, he's got the chance to slip past Rorschach if this lap is sufficient enough. Rorschach will be 2 tenths down in sector 2, so this is a chance for Mayer to pick up this place.
Ooh, nudge the wall.
A little bit wobbly there, and he's just going to hug the start finish line by the checkered flag podium there, and it's a loss of time in the final sector, so he misses out.
Yeah, I think he knew that with that hit with the wall, that he just lost his momentum there. 3 tenths down as he crossed the line, so he was weaving off the sort of tight qualifying line and back to essentially the racing line. See Frank Hamming cutting a bit of grass as well at the second chicane, 8 and 9 there. So yeah, certainly Hamming second in the points, of course, looking to become the main challenger here too, Alexo, but currently out-qualified by his teammate Francesconi, and only just inside the top 10 as well. Melon Klont is about 93 thousandths behind him. So yeah, Hamming again qualifying in a position where he could challenge for the podium, but he's making things hard for himself as he clobbers over the curb, really looking for time here, but that middle sector, I think, could let him down.
Off the line, yeah.
No improvement.
It's too late, yeah, no improvement to last. So, yeah, it'll be P9 for Hamming. So he's beaten by his teammate in this qualifying session, but we know his strength in race conditions. And Dezeu across the line here, and he gains 1 place. So Remco will begin the race in 25th position as everyone behind him is in pit lane. So that's a guaranteed improvement for Remco, our broadcast colleague. So nicely done as he returns behind the wheel of the Excellion.
Yeah, definitely a much needed boost for the German team, having Remco back behind the wheel, of course. But this is how the grid looks, Owen. So it is Alex Laho, 1 minute 15.588. A very convincing pole position once again, not by the dominant margin we saw at, say, Sepang last time out, and a couple of other races as well. The margin is sort of wavered between 3 and 4 tenths. Here it's just under a tenth and a half. So Rozak actually was on provisional pole for the first all good 3, 4, 5 minutes of the session then. But then behind Rozak on the front row, on row 2, we've got Mayer, followed by Scott Flack, who is a very credible P4 on the grid. Che Hatch getting up to P5, not quite locking out the front row like he did last time with his teammate Alex Laho, but still very much in play in the second of the Vietnamese team's cars. Michael Francesconi lines up 6th ahead of James Juba. Juba having a very good qualifying session here, and he always seems to be quite strong on street circuits, Juba, historically. Lucas Phelan is 8th. We have Frank Hamming in P9, and Menno Klont rounding out the top 10, just under 9/10 of a pole. Domenico Scarpelli was... I think Menno's disappeared because he's just left the server for some reasons. That's why it's showing Scarpelli 10th, but I think it should be Scarpelli P11 with Massimiliano Riboli in P12. Pesi Mikkonen should start P13. Raymond Van Sud should start P14 ahead of Damien Cardas in the Crowley 82. James Rokai is going to start just outside the points, I believe, for Alpha Sierra. So that's good qualifying for our substitute from the Aquile team in FS2. Wopke Hoekstra will start P17 ahead of Matis Gazowski in 18th. Alexander Gonzalez-Green will start P19. Difficult qualifying for the American. We're in North America, but we're in Canada, not the United States. So maybe that is why the excuse that Alex will lean to there. And then we've got... behind him in P20, we've got Wesley Stefano for MS Performance. In 21st, we have Micah Luvink, another of our FS2 substitutes. 22nd will be Michal Galka. And then in 23rd and 24th, the two Team Iris machines at Philip Koenig and Christian Mautrak in that order. And then in P25, we have Remco Desir with that late improvement, getting him just ahead of Alexander Ragozza, who will start 26th. Cedric Bill will start P27. Pablo Serrano, P28. Omari Watson did not get a time on the board, and neither did Christine Glamsetter, who is the actual driver of that Cap Clay.
I don't think so either.
Oh, no, that's...
so.
It's not Christine, okay.
Confused.
So that's another interloper.
Yeah.
It's just constantly changing their name to confuse us, but... Okay, already left the server, so this is... apologies to Christian Glamsetter, who's clearly not taking part in this at all, and somebody's just trying to smear his good name, as they were Yuho earlier, because of course Yuho did 4 emergency rounds already, so he can't really sub in at the last minute anymore. Sadly for Yuho, he'll have to wait for someone to give him a full-time drive, or compete elsewhere, of course, which he has been doing, to be fair, in other championships, and doing a very, very solid job. All truth be told, he's also like running his own team as well in the Vela 1 Mission 19 outfit, so he's certainly got a lot on his plate, without people trying to invoke his name without his consent, which is not something anybody should do. You shouldn't impersonate people. It's just a bad thing to do. But anyway, that is the end of qualifying, and we can look forward to the race, where I think really, in my opinion, Owen, we're looking at that top 3 for victory. Laho, Rozak, Mayer, unless Scott Flack can do something clever with the tyres. But of course, he's got his hands full of Hatch and Juba, I think, behind him. So, yeah, it could be a really, really interesting race here, especially when it comes to strategy. Who's going to start on the softs and who's going to do the alternate strategy, start on the mediums and extend as long as they can before switching to the softs near the end.
Yeah, that's certainly the question. Track temperature. Compared to what we've seen in Asia, it's definitely a more modest 37.6 degrees. Those grey clouds are still a factor, but the actual rain probability, I'm not sure if we had an accurate number, but I don't think it's as high. If it's not going to land immediately, certainly could still appear in the middle of the race. So the soft tyres should be the dominant pick from the majority of the grid, as you can get the tyres reasonably far into a stint. Exact numbers for you now. You can get about 12 to 18 laps in that sort of pit window for soft tires, so that is very good. It should be possible. Medium tires can go from 20 laps to about 23 or so before you should make sense to go in for a pit stop, depending of course if the inters are required in rain conditions, but at the moment I don't think that is going to happen, but I'm always happy to be wrong.
Yeah, I think we're in the middle, if I'm not mistaken, I have an incredibly long streak of dry FS1 races. Because I think one of the very, very first ones that I did was in 2023, and I think it was at the Nürburgring, German Grand Prix that year. And that was particularly the first race, and I think the second as well, were wet. And from then on, since I've arrived, it's not rained since. So I'm not sure if. Well, actually, no, I didn't do last year. I was used to go last year, so it can't be my fault that it didn't rain last year. So it's either maybe it's the combination of us that's kept the rain away. I don't know. I've seen maybe a couple of drops in FS1, but it's never really fomented into anything that's forced a switch to wet or wet tires essentially. So. Yeah, certainly we are kind of overdue some rain in terms of statistic probability. It's like if you keep rolling the dice, eventually you're going to hit a 6. So maybe today's the day. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll wait and see how good the probability is for drivers who need a bit of luck before spring break. It is hard to believe it, but yeah, we're going to head into the spring break after this race. So the championship will then be divvied up into 2 blocks of 5, so that'll be one to watch. But yeah, definitely the early stretch of the season, get as many races in as you can before the first break. Makes sense to me anyway. So everyone has plenty of data to sift through that they can bring to the spring break and try and find what they need to do before we head properly into the European campaign.
Yes, exactly. So there's always going to be a little bit of data sifting. I know I've even been doing a little bit with my own FS2 team as well. And yeah, definitely drivers that have maybe will take stock of the season so far and then try and see if they can improve things going into the final competition. Apart from Alex Laho, I'm sure we'll just say that he's doing everything perfectly, and that the only times things have not gone his way is due to bad luck. I think after Sepang race 2, he basically said that he was used as a bit of a pinball machine by some of the other drivers. He said something to that effect, or it might have been me that suggested that, and he agreed, I think, in the post-race interview. But yeah, either way, I think a lot of people will be expecting Laho to try and control things from the front here. But yeah, I definitely think Jack Mayer, knowing that he's beaten Laho before in Superlights, obviously a much longer race, of course, but still, the feature, it's not a short race, of course. It's a good 30 laps or so, isn't it, if I'm not mistaken. So that's plenty of opportunities for Mayer, if he can clear Rozak, of course, to get involved in the fight. The danger is Rozak and Mayer could get so caught up fighting each other in the first half of the race that Laho, by the time one of them is able to pull away from the other, Laho could be long gone then. So there's maybe a little bit of an incentive from a keep the championship interesting perspective for maybe a bit of a truce between Rozak and Mayer. Of course, depending if both of them get off the line, well, of course, they could get completely jumped by Flack or anybody else behind them, so we can't forget that. But yeah, I do think that there's a little bit of a sense of Alex Laho and Che Hatch versus everybody else at the moment.
Yeah, I suppose you recall the double stack that was performed there by Hugh Performance, I'm fairly sure. So we had a bit of a ingenious.
I don't think it was planned, because Che said afterwards.
It was ingenious, but yeah, it was unplanned as well, but did work out very well.
He went in and didn't expect to see Alex there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it wasn't unintended, but very ingenious, I thought, double stack. But here at Montreal, pit entry, not very common, of course, to have basically the pit entry straight ahead, where the racing cars will enter the final chicane to the right. You can carry on to the left-hand side, so you need to have a good understanding about cars who want to pit straight away, and then you're giving them a slipstream. You want to make sure there's no risk of being caught by a car braking a little bit early or darting in, and they ended up getting distracted. So that's probably an element where we won't see many double stacks. You've got to make sure you're clear of your teammate if you're going to be that close together. So you make sure you don't double stack, especially if it rains. You don't want that kind of carnage at the pits. And of course, on pit exit as well, you have that advantage. You get a good entry into the second turn, so you have a little bit of speed on corner entry, whereas the other cars have to slow right down. Oh, and you can see Scott Flack testing the limits there of his overpower.
Yeah, interesting though, because if you compare that to what we saw Laho and a couple of others were doing on their quali lap, Laho was using loads of curbs, just monstering it, whereas Scott Flack was actually giving the curbs a little bit of a wide berth and then trying to do a lot of the turn in on his exit there, which is why the rear end sort of got away from him. He was asking a fair bit of it there. So it's interesting if Flack is trying a couple of different lines to maybe be a bit kinder on the tyres here. But it's interesting to see the Australian. Obviously, it's a very different time of day for him compared to a lot of his competitors, given where he is in the world. It's quite early in the morning for him, if I'm not mistaken, but or late at night, depending on perspective. But yeah, it's interesting to see even this late on in the warm-up that Flack is sort of with one eye to the race, anticipating he's going to be in some interesting racing situations, just going a little bit off the beaten path and seeing what he can do. There's his teammate Ribley, who's not really scored very many points at all this season and is looking to really turn that around as an overpower in their quest to sneak into the top 5 in the points. The Italian really needs to be holding up his end of things as well, especially with Flack occasionally having his infamous bad luck strike. As we see, there's a front wing lying astern at the exit of the Wall of Champions, so I suspect it's claimed a victim somewhere in this warm-up as we have 40 seconds left to go. As you said earlier, Eoin, clouds really darkening over the Ile Notre Dame. Of course, used to be the former Olympic rowing lake right next to the circuit. You could see lots of things from Expo 67 in the background, like the massive dome thingy. I forget what it's called. The big metal globe structure.
One,
yeah, I forget what its official name is, but I know it's from Expo 67. So there we go. But yeah, you can sometimes see it in the background in some of the shots of the hairpin and the rowing lake too. As Menno is being slipstream with DRS by, I believe that is one of the KKRs. That must be Filen then, as Menno cuts the corner. So if that was a racing situation, Menno would absolutely have to give way there. So Menno and Lucas Filen starting pretty close together as well. So who knows, that could be a dress rehearsal between KKR and CM Tech, who are going to be fighting, you would assume, for maybe top 6, top 7 in this race, depending on how it goes.
It was good to see both cars scoring in race 2. Certainly as a tandem in 13th and 14th for CM Tech. If they can keep that momentum going.
Have you got some sort of record of previous results that you've got on record?
I just have the stream from 2 weeks ago open. That's the only
okay. Well, there we go.
Yeah, 13th, 14th. So I have it in another tab. But
I thought you'd anticipated the website attack and it's saved like a result sheet.
No, I did not, I'm afraid. It's the Biosphere. That's the official name.
Biosphere. There we go.
Yeah.
Of course. Even though it is made of metal. But
yes, exactly.
But anyway, I guess it is a biome, so that does fit. As we see Che Hatch, being... Well, he did quite rudely stop, and then he got rudely hit in the back by, I think that was Remco, wasn't it? Remco just giving him the friendly hello there to Che Hatch. Well, Remco would certainly be ramming him on the broadcast, if not on track. So I guess for Che, it's a case of at least it happened in practice and not in a race situation.
Definitely scenes of the F1 race with Hamilton hitting the back of Raikkonen, and then Rosberg got involved as well. So a similar situation to that, just a bit further down the road.
Well, I keep thinking of the chaotic 2011 race, isn't it? Where I think Heidfeld hit the back of someone and just slid under his front wing, sort of became a skateboard, and he just was a passenger.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so that happened exactly that section of the track, I think, coming out turn 3. But I was Kobayashi, I think he hit the back of.
Right.
I think it was. So, yeah. One of at least 18 billion things that happened in that 2011 race in between the lengthy 4-hour red flag periods. Yeah. Hopefully we don't see that, because then my brother really will be annoyed that he's not getting any sleep. But anyway, with me babbling on the background, 35 laps though of our feature race set to come here, and this is where the drivers get that final opportunity to pick tires, but we have got an opportunity to do our little bumper. So after the stinger, we'll be back for the feature race. So there we go. Your eyes very much deceive you. This is not a one-car race for James Dubert, although I think James would love that. But we are about to get underway here for our first race of our 6th round of the season here in Montreal. And you can see the grid populating in front of you. It should be Alex Lahoe, Patrick Rozak, though, on the front row. together then. As you can see, cloudy skies in the back. We don't know quite what the weather's going to do, whether it's going to stay dry throughout and just stay overcast, or if we are going to see a little bit of rain interruption to completely change the picture here, as Laho is going to lead away on the formation lap here, of course. All 29 drivers are on the grid. Hopefully they all start on the grid. I think Watson's starting from the pit lane, though, having missed qualifying, though. So it should be 28 cars on the grid, I'm mistaken. Amari Watson has been worryingly static so far today. But let's go through the grid order. It is Alex Laho, Patrick Rozak that make up the front row, of course. They have done battle before this season, as have Jack Mayer and Scott Flack in third and fourth. Mayer looking to add to his podium streak. Che Hatch will start fifth in his second round of the season. Michael Francesconi alongside him on row 3. Row 4, James Juba, joined by Lucas Filan. Juba's best qualifying of the season so far. On row 5, we have got our runner-up in the championship currently, Frank Hamming, ahead of Menno Cont. Then it's Domenico Scarpelli and Massimiliano Riboli. Impressive qualifying for Scarpelli at short notice. Pessi Mikkonen as well in P13 for Alpha Sierra, joined on the 7th row by Raymond Van Sust. Demi Cardas for Gar 82 will start 15th in the final points playing position, just ahead of James Rokai. On row 9, we have Wopke Hoekstra, joined by Emerald Hummingbird's Mateusz Gazowski. Then on row 10, it's Alexander Gonzalez-Green and Wesley Stefano. Micah Luvink and Michelle Galka make up row 11. On row 12, we have the two Team Iris cars of Philip Koenig and Christian Mautrek. Behind them, we have who else but Remco Desir and, of course, Alexander Ragotza in 26th, 27th and 28th. We have Cedric Bill and Pablo Serrano. Finally, on 15th and final row, in fact, starting in the pit lane, of course, it will be just Amari Watson for Potentia. And he's got to hope he can get to the end of the pit lane soon, because the race is not far away from starting here, and this could be a big blow for Potentia if they're down to one car already before the race even starts.
Yeah, of course, that's plenty of points guaranteed to be left behind if he cannot start the race in pit lane, as it looks to be the case if he has some sort of desire to start from pit lane, brake park firmware, for example. But no concern for our front row starters. They don't mind at all, but Jack Mayer has to win this race by himself. Here come the lights.
And in a few short moments, we will be underway here in Montreal. Terrible start for Che Hatch, who was almost stranded on the grid, but Laho is going to lead into turn 1. Rozak buzzing in behind, and Mayer almost gets alongside, but now sees the Australian Scott Flack trying to sneak away. Third position here. Looks like a lot of our front runners have gone for the soft tie here. Flack, not quite bold enough to go side by side through turn 3 and 4 on Jack Mayer, so he wisely stays in P4. But there's a collision behind, and the Alpha Sierra has lost its rear wing, and it's absolute pandemonium behind. Cardas has lost his front wing yet again after qualifying. Ragoza's has lost his front wheel. Mikkonen's car has only got one wheel left, and the rest is completely burning, and Remco may be out of the race before even the first lap, as Mautrek also wounded on his way back to the pit lane. So I don't know what to make of that. Oh no, Warren Watson now looking very prudent indeed, up to 25th already, having started from the pit lane.
Yeah, he's dodged the chaos, so that will pay off.
It's almost like he knew what was going to happen, eh?
Foreshadowing from Watson. Elementary, I suppose. But now Cardas has to yield there. He's got to let Cedric by safely. But in the lead remains Alex Laho. Look at Patrick Rozak. He's got the potential for the inside line. But no, he did the right thing, I think, just to back out. He wasn't 100% committed, so better off not to dive in. But Jack Mayer will notice that. DRS, of course, there are 2 activation zones, but 3 DRS portions on the circuit. So yeah, you get DRS on the back straight, and you get it again on the start finish. So now that we will see that in action, Jack Mayer with that little bit of momentum as Rozak backed out in his overtaking ambitions. And we can see now 3 cars all gearing up for their first dose of DRS.
Yeah, there we go. Laho standing up incredibly well to the pressure from Rozak, who, as he said, Juba looks he might have had a bit of a transponder sort of glitch there, as he is still in 8th behind Filan then. But one only runner in the top 10, not in the soft tires, is Francesconi, who is about 6/10 behind Flack on the hards, of course. As we see, Hamming has actually dropped outside the top 10 behind Ribbley, who's made a great start and snuck into 10th position there. So the hard runners at the moment, it does not seem to be the favoured strategy of choice, but it should start to pay out a little bit later on in this race then. So Francesconi's got to hang in there. Of course, Che Hatch bogging down off the line has really helped the HGP man get up into P5 here, but now he's got to defend because he's got Les Grip, and again Rozak peeks to the inside, trying to put Loho under real pressure. He's going for the inside into turn 1 here, and he should have the DRS to pull this one off, and you can see Jack Mayer as well looking which driver to follow here, but Rozak snatches the lead at the start of lap 3 there as Mayer nearly taps the back of Loho there. So Rozak really well timed there, and now Loho very much on the defensive from the man who beat him a couple of years ago here in Superlights.
Yeah, this is huge now with
Hatch is through on Francesconi as well, so the hard tire runners really just are absolute roadblocks here at this moment. If they can form a train behind them, they've got to keep as many behind as they can.
Ain't that the truth? And Francesconi, the first to realize he's under pressure. In order for these hard tires to work correctly, they need to be within some sort of pack that will be able to gather some slipstream, and that's not happening for Francesconi at the moment. Zuba has the first opportunity to get the detection point, and therefore the first of 2 activation zones coming up now. So this will be real trouble for the Italian, and Francesconi has to decide which line he can defend safely and make sure he's still competitive heading into the early throws of this race. And there we go, it's already game over in terms of P6, but watch out because Lucas Tylene knows what he's doing, and he's going to be very aggressive on the curbs, and Lahu with his ability to counter-attack now against Rorschach with his turn on DRS goes out on the inside of turn 1, not successful.
As we see Mayer really opportunistically diving up the inside through 2 and 3 there on Loho. So Loho really going aggressive to try and get the inside for turn 1, but Rozak responded incredibly well, just hung around the outside. That becomes the inside, of course, for turn 2, and he knew as long as he went a bit longer on the brakes there, he had enough just to keep Loho at bay. But the DRS really powerful. Let's not forget there's 2 detection points, but there are 3 zones around here as well. And I'm just looking at the notes from Menno Klont that he sent to me pre-race. Says the pace is so close that I doubt if a medium-soft strategy is faster than the other way around. So the soft tyres might be able to get a big gain at the first stint. Well, that's certainly the way things are playing out so far, as Francesconi now behind Filin in P8 then. So Filin has made followed Juba and Hatch through and made very short work of the Italian here. And now it's Menno Klont's turn himself. So let's see if his strategy prophecy will come true here, if the softs are going to pay out.
Watching and waiting. If he can emulate what we saw a moment ago, that'll be fabulous for him.
To the outside.
Yeah, the outside's not going to work when you're already behind. You've got to be side by side. And the second activation point, though, will be difficult because Francesconi does have DRS this go around. Yeah, he's not got the top line speed at the moment. Would be good news if Raboli or Frank Hamming can distract each other for a while. And there's Scarpelli. Yeah, last remaining Scuderia Cap Clay. He'll be eager to pick up as many points as he can for that outfit, who have been beleaguered by bad luck for the majority of the season.
Yeah, interesting little gap just to keep half an eye on, by the way, is the gap. Our leaders fighting each other, of course, still at the moment, but keep an eye on the Gazowski, Luving, Cookstra sort of onwards pack, because they're all on the hards. They'll be running a lot longer, so when our leaders pit, that's the drivers they will end up sort of stuck behind, at least temporarily, on the fresh hard tyres, essentially. So that could be really fascinating to see how that plays out come the pit stops. And at the moment, he's about a 10-second ahead, Rozak is, of Gazowski and co. So yeah, I think if they pit now, they would come out behind Watson in sort of P24, but ahead of Michel Galka then.
Yeah, important to at least are very rare in GPVWC FS1, but it's not impossible. And we'll see now. Lap 6 begins. Patrick Rorschach fastest lap. A little bit of lag at the moment, so hopefully that's all okay. I won't be filled this time. Excuse me, a bit stable. There we go. Rabola is now in correct telemetry spot, so he's giving Frank Hamming a real headache at the moment, and that's great news for Overpower, who would love to be an outside bet for best of the rest in the team's championship. They know Scott Flack is capable of victories.
Oh, I think Scott Pelly in trouble. He's lost a couple of positions there behind Kazaski and Luvink now. He was right behind Rokai and Van Sust, as we see more gravel being kicked up there. And that looks like, is that Juba losing out to Francesconi again? So he's made a mistake into 5 and 6 there. And now he's got Menno Klont nipping at his heels here.
Yeah, transponder, you said it already, the word I was looking for there. So now we're back to regular footage now. And Juba, this is great news for Bottle indeed. I'd have Juba pushing hard and Gonzalez Green hopefully snapping at the heels of some points later in the race. Currently 19th for the United States representative. And now more DRS action on the back straight before the final chicane. And now fast lap for Lahoo. So these top 3 drivers are all in exquisite form, but they all have to figure out how to pass on circuit. Again, they've already managed it a few times between Roshak and Lahoo, and Jack Mayer just idling, hoping for his chance in a moment.
Yeah, it's interesting to me that both HGPs, I think Hamming and Francesconi have both gone for the hards here. I'm a bit confused because Hamming, every couple of laps, sometimes seems to switch between softs and hards, and I assume he's gone hards. So let's see a replay then. I believe, will this be the start then? This is, Pessi Mikkonen, this is not going to be pretty,
No, you have to grimace, I'm afraid. There's the first bit of contact into the chicane. And Mikkonen then loses it on the grass, and there's the heavy contact with the Galliard. And the pile-up begins. All kinds of...
such a sort of pinch point. And look at Mario Watson. He does get a tap there, so he didn't completely avoid it like I thought he had. But there we go. This will be his view then. As he comes through turn 2, having waited for the light to turn green, and he's going to see all sorts of carnage ahead of him. He's going to slow right down, I think, and tiptoe his way through it.
Yeah, here he goes now. He'll know what's going on. Lots of smoke, lots of debris. Gets over the wings. And
little tap on the rear right, but he should be okay. That was just Mikkonen sliding across the track, and then he can just pick off all the wounded warriors one by one. And this is Juba's mistake then. A couple laps ago, tapped the wall, but that won't harm him too much. Late on the brakes into 5 and 6, and knew he wasn't going to make the corner. Goes over the bump, just avoids filing, and through goes Francesconi as well. Juba, though, has fallen to P10, so he's had another incident, I think, not long after this. Menno uses DRS to go around the outside him into turn 1. Juba late on the brakes. Does tap the back of Francesconi and has to cut across turn 2. Of course, you can't really cut across the entire track. And makes more contact with Ribley there through 3. So I think Juba, trying to return to the racing line, didn't really take Ribley into account there. And I think Massey will be not best impressed by that one.
Oh, that'll definitely be a few
Klont up the inside of the hairpin.
Words, but Klont, lovely move there, and that'll help him. He'll have to, of course, defend though. Watch, just have DRS for the time being, so that'll help him out. And then, if anything, Francesconi may have to watch his mirrors for his teammate coming. And indeed, there's a look at the bottle, and the other overpower there going hammer and tongs. So choice words would have been said a moment ago, but they seem to have put that behind them for the time being. Yeah, Francesconi now in that awkward middle position, knowing that he's got his teammate behind and a competitor of great prestige and reliability just ahead. So Klont at the moment settling into P7 after that lovely overtake.
Yeah, it's interesting that the hards have started to get things under control a little bit more. The HGPs, I think, working together well here to try and limit the damage. And Hamming, of course, has made good progress here, picking off a couple of the soft runners, having a good battle with Ribley early doors. And now Juba looking to get his own back in the sort of middle DRS zone. Back up the inside into 8 and 9, and just enough space left by Ribley there. That's the place we really don't want to have to give up ground, because you can lose the sort of third DRS zone down the back straight then. As back up the inside looks Ribley, he's trying to aim for a move. Rokai in the Alpha Sierra is also catching up to this battle as well. So we've basically got nearly all of our point scorers in a bit of a train here behind Menno Klont, of course being held up behind Francesconi, who's cost them about 3 or 4 seconds to file in then in P6. So our front runners will be loving the fact that HGP are making life difficult for these runners. Oh dear! Rokai cuts across the outside of Van Sust, and the front wheel is gone. Rokai is out into the wall of champions, and I think Ripley's gone as well. The engine has gone kaput.
Yeah, that's real chaos on the start-finish straight. They pulled over.
Rokai's still trying to keep going, oddly, or is he just trying to get out of the racing line? I think.
Guys, get out of the way, I suppose. But also, yeah, just to say, yeah, I made it further than Rivoli, so I'm going to be classified better.
It's a bit of a moot point, I guess, unless you're thinking of race 2 classification, which is sneaky.
Yeah, I suppose.
Here we go then.
Race control, definitely.
So Ripley goes over the curb, rejoins, and goes straight into the wall, loses the rear tyre. Rokai having a similar incident right behind him, but he still got his rear tyre, so he can sort of technically go that little bit further down the racetrack, whereas Ripley is a bit of a passenger there. What do you make of this one, Eoin? Oh, for me, Van Sust was kind of minding his own business there and just got tagged from the outside.
Yeah. He was side by side. We braked earlier, I thought. So it meant that the opportunity for Rokai to defend was perfect.
Oh, Laho up inside. Oh, we're seeing it again. Oh, and they somehow both keep it out of the wall, but here comes Mayer. Oh, my goodness. He's going for the Lewis Hamilton Jensen Button move. Is Jack Mayer there? Can he go for the lead? Oh, it's really on the brakes. Oh, and he dives into Laho. The 2 championship protagonists clatter each other, and Rozak will retake the lead. So it's as they were then. Mayer, I think, going for a bit of a kamikaze move, and it didn't quite play out in his favor there. I'll tell you what, who's going to be loving this? Saving his tires, keeping a safe distance away in P4, Scott Flack. I think he's very much playing the long game here and keeping himself in play.
Yeah, Rorschach will be loving that. Nothing he did was out of order, and he inherits the lead. Mayer will have to say, yeah, I'll try again next time. So fair is fair. I think that Lahoo maintains track position. But Scott Flack, this is superb news for him. The first real opening he's got among these protagonists. So he's got his chance for the podium now, starting with Jack Mayer in 3rd. So he'll sit back and just watch what happens next. But Lahoo will get another chance to regain the lead. He knows how to do it into the start-finish straight, and he's going to try and pick his moment at the last moment, or the last possible second. He picks the outside line this time, wheel to wheel, almost, but not this time. Second chance is coming.
Yeah, you saw Rozak quite early on defended the middle and the inside line into the final chicane there. As we go into turn 1 once again, Laho is stranded on the outside, and Rozak, bit of a immovable object versus unstoppable force situation here, and Jack Mayer is involved too. As I said, Scott Flack is just looking to pick up the pieces because they are starting to get a bit physical. If they all start damaging each other and taking chunks out of each other, which we have seen happen in battles so far in this race, is all. I think Serrano has hit trouble. He is dropping down the order like a stone, and that now puts Amari Watson just one place, about 1.5 seconds off of the points. So he is making his way through the hard tire runners now as well. So Watson having a great drive from the pit lane here.
Of course, yeah, great comeback drive from the pit lane. But yeah, if anybody is willing to gamble on pitting, then the soft tire Delta for the pit stop window is just about to open realistically once they reach the entry on the left-hand side. So that's the earliest possible opportunity to make a soft to medium strategy work, or soft to hard. So this is a task that the drivers perhaps off this podium battle will think about.
Backing out.
Yeah, he backed out early. That's not going to help his entry into the chicane, but his exit with DRS will be absolutely adequate. So that will keep him in 2nd place. Yeah, no sign of any pitters in the order. Juba has just made the overtake on Hamming, so that's a great game for Bottle against title contender there in Hamming. Yeah, he's got to hope now that the soft tires will begin to cry mercy in the next few laps, and that will allow HGP to mount their comeback.
Yeah, I was sort of wondering why Laho backed out of that move there. He had a decent run. It might have been risky, I suppose, and what I think might be playing on Laho's mind is that Rozak has got a lot less to lose at the moment, whereas Laho's got that big lead in the championship, especially after what happened in reverse grid at Sepang. He can't really afford to be taken out. So Laho can sort of afford to play a little bit more conservatively if he thinks it's too marginal a move, whereas Rozak and Mayer will just absolutely go for him here. So they have not got any such reservations at all. So yeah, it is kind of a slightly lopsided battle where Laho is every bit as quick at them, if not faster, but these two are just so much braver. I can't afford to be, I guess.
A little bit of extra movement there from Rorschach, but he stays stable on the racing line, so no foul play on defense. But now on offense comes Alex LaHoo, loving the opportunity to win and perhaps
really far alongside.
Yes, that's beautiful. Oh, they're tumbling in there. Thankfully, he realized just in the nick of time what was going to happen. But yeah, the Frenchman in French Canada takes the lead. So beautiful stuff.
Yeah, I think Rozak was holding on for as best he could to that, so LaHoo knew he could go for the better opportunity there, which was the run on the start-finish straight, going around the outside, getting the overlap, and Rozak kind of knew the game was up there, and it could well be that LaHoo is pushing because he wants to do an in-lap soon and switch to the harder tyre for the final stint of the race then, so it would make sense to push, build a gap now, and sort of blindside everybody in this group so that they can't really react and switch to a fresh set tyres before he can. Oh, look at the rears going.
Certainly the pit lane is one of the shorter ones, so an undercut will be tempting for whomever feels like it's possible to pull off. At the moment, yeah, Flack with that perhaps opportunity to conserve his tyres by himself. He's out to pull clear of Che and company, so that allowed him to monitor his own lap times, and then eventually he saw what was going on in front, and he's caught right up to the gearbox of Mayer. LaHoo stabilizing his lap time there, good 118.2, gaining half a second on Rorschach compared to that most recent lap, and then those drivers behind are all pretty evenly matched in the mid 118, so it is a case where everybody is now on equal footing, but the DRS definitely plays its part when it needs to.
It absolutely does then. So Francesconi lost that 118.5, LaHoo 118.2, Rozak and Mayer in the 118.6s and 7s then. So we are getting towards the crossover point, but yeah, at the moment it's pretty equal between the two. By the way, we do have a comment in the chat from Juho Soppinen, is in the real Juho Soppinen. It says Pablo Serrano Ham has retired. Okay, I thought he said Pablo Serrano Ham retired. It was a typo, but no, it was a joke about Pablo's last name there, which I'm sure he's never heard before. Is did I just spot a few drops of rain there? In fact, I did. We're officially seeing the rain symbol on the weather. Yes. So is this what they're holding out for it to get really wet here very quickly? And this is going to be a really tricky dimension here, because any mistake now could be much more costly in these conditions.
Those raindrops are clearly visible on the carbon fiber as well. So 20 laps to go. I said in the build-up, I'll be happy to be wrong. I should have said happy to be corrected in my prediction, and I indeed need to be corrected. So yeah, we have rainfall. Will it be enough to force these drivers to come in for intermediates, which will definitely mean the HGP gamble for hards will backfire a little bit. But of course, 7th and 10th, not the end of the world. They have managed to stabilize their lap times as well. Hamming just in the 119s actually, so he's a little bit off the pace, knowing that Juba is out of DRS detection for him. Yeah, look at those droplets. They're still picking up on the halo and on the chassis, so they'll notice very quickly if their sector times deteriorate, and that's when you've got to come in.
Yeah, we also don't know A, if it's going to rain hard enough, and B, for how long it's going to rain as well, because if there's a big shower and then it immediately stops and dries out again, then you're going to look a little bit silly making the extra stops then. But there's the argument of the track being really, really slippery, and you don't want to just run off the road and have your race end, as can be very much the case if you mount too much curbs in the rain at the final chicane here at Montreal. So this is a really, really tricky situation. Someone like Watson down in 16th, right behind Stefano and Hoekstra, fighting away for the last couple of points positions. He might be tempted to risk it here because he's sort of losing time either way. So I think those on the hards, whatever happens, might be forced to rethink their strategy here. As Juba finally caught up to Menno Klont, and now going up the inside, late on the brakes, clears him into turn 1 there. So Juba back into the top 8 here, having qualified P7, but now 3-second gap to Francesconi, of course, has all this squabbling allowed Michael Francesconi to just pull away on the hards.
Kozowski for the Emerald Hummingbird team has gambled in the pits. So this is a very interesting call, particularly for Patrick Rorschach. He'll get that data from his teammate, but of course everyone else
softs
picked the softs, so not enough to switch to inters. Yeah, good information though. As of course, if it's a
Gazowski was on the hards before, remember, so it could be he was planning to pit then anyway, or he is just really struggling to keep the hards up to temperature because it's much easier to light up the softer tires. We see Mayer is lining up Rozak then at the end of the back straight here, and Rozak dives into the pits then, so this is crucial.
Very important, yeah, but of course we'll see now with the respect to the 2 compounds in a dry race. We'll see now if it's wet enough to actually permit the intermediates to nullify that rule. So Rozak, he knows his teammate is pitted. Will he get the information?
He's going
for
for
hards. He
needs
his hard tires, so yeah, he's going to stick it out on the regular strategy, waiting to be released. There we go. Fill in the gap. Perhaps behind Gonzalez Green. We'll check the track map just to be sure. Should be roughly in that pocket in 16th or 17th in my estimate.
He's P11 behind Van Sust, just behind Van Sust as well. Actually,
Okay.
There is Raymond. No, that's Vopke Hoekstra. Sorry, fighting with his teammate Van Sust's teammate Stefano for P13, and there is Watson, of course, still chugging along very nicely now with that pit stop for Gazowski. Omari Watson is now just in to the final points paying position and looking to relieve some of the drivers ahead, including Vopke Hoekstra, who's very experienced, and Wesley Stefano himself, but all 3 very experienced drivers fighting for the bottom end of the points here in tricky conditions. Now, if it stops raining, and it has actually just, the rain has stopped for the time being, then this is going to look like a very, very smart call from Patrick Rozak, because he's just getting on with things, switching to his different compound of dry tyre in form of the hards, and trying to get to the end of the race, whereas our front runners are still holding out on ever-decaying softs, hoping that it rains again as Rozak picks off Van Sust for P10. Hamming now comes into the pit, so he's given up the ghost on the hards. He's going to go for, you would assume, the softs.
Yeah, it really ought to be a change to the soft tire. Help him regain some of those positions. There you go, I suppose. Yeah, he did qualify just outside, I think, 10th, I think it was. So Hoekstra's in, Watson is in, Stefano is in, Galka is
waiting
in.
for the rain to stop. That's what these hard tire runners were doing.
And so that data we brought forward into the sprint race later on, the 23 laps, goes to show the soft tires in the lower temperatures, if they stay as they are, then yeah, they're definitely durable enough if you take care of them.
Yeah, we'll be interested if Rozak can get the undercut. Of course, last lap time, a little bit delayed, having to pick up Van Sust, 1 minute 20.0, whereas Laho, Mayer, Flacker are on the 118, mid to low 118s, essentially. So, yeah, this is going to be really, really fascinating who decides to pit when in this sequence there, because it could be that actually pitting early for the hards may play against Rozak here, as we see Menno trying to once more get on terms with James Juba here, and yeah, we're seeing into the pits comes Menno Kant then, so he's decided the softs can go no further. Francesconi is also fed up with the hards as well. He wants his go on the softs, much like we saw Frank Camming then.
Absolutely, yeah. So both the HGPs tried something a little bit different. May pay off though. We'll see. Luvnik passing pit lane now, so that'll help KKR plot their route to some points with both their cars. So Luvnik carries on. Luvnik, I should say, actually. So he carries on for a little bit longer. Clont into the racing action, and there's Frank Hamming actually. So that's fabulous opportunism from Hamming to get on that inside ahead of his countryman Menno Clont. So yeah, good news for HGP that they have these soft tires working.
Yep, Rozak is a set of 1:17.8, his personal best lap of the race, so a tenth quicker than what Laho was doing. Laho's responded with the fastest middle sector of the race then, so the gap is about 23 seconds or so between Laho and Rozak, and it looks like Mayer's in the pits, so he's decided to blink second of our leaders.
That means it's a podium of yellow cars at the moment, so Laho, Flack and Hatch are the top 3 at the moment, all yet to pit. So
is that Mayer going back out on another set of softs? That's odd.
We'll have to wait and see, but I don't know what the
could change over. Could be a glitch.
Yeah, it could be a glitch, but definitely.
Yeah, it's showing hards on race view, so
that's
there we go. And Juba doing this exact same thing along with couple others as well. Rozak is half a second ahead of Jack Mayer then on pit exit here. So, yeah, that's only just worked out for Patrick Rozak. There they are. Actually, they were on the pit exit half a second apart. It looks like they're more about a second apart. Now they've got up to racing speed, and there is Phylan as well. He looks like he's on hards too now.
Yeah, that's good news for KKR, getting both their pit stops out of the way. Luvink stays just within the points paying positions where Watson could get him sooner rather than later. Gonzalez Green pits for Bottle in our 22 remaining cars. Just a case of the top 3 are yet to pit, but just as I say, right on cue, LaHoo is in the box.
Yep, so he had to do it sooner or later, didn't he? So he's going to have to take the pain of putting on the hards. Flack will take the lead. Hatch is following in. So again, Q Performance, it's a double stack service then. So hopefully Che Hatch doesn't lose too much time with this change of tyres. The Q Performance mechanics having to do sort of really quick duty. It's almost like Daniel Ricciardo Red Bull pit stop, having to get the extra set of tyres out. But here we go. There's Rozak. Is he going to get out into the lead? No. Alex Lowe will comfortably just about hold on then, despite the great effort there from Patrick Rozak. But that purple middle sector from LaHoo really made the difference as we see Clont having to miss the chicane there. So he is really struggling on the harder tyres now. And we know Francesconi and Hamming, both on the softs, they are flying now as well and starting to catch up to Phylan in P6.
Yeah, that's important now. Francesconi is putting in personal bests at the moment. That will apply the pressure on the Super Swede. So with Che Hatch, of course, he's got himself safely out for the time being. Good planning again from Q Performance. Whether or not that was the original idea to double stack again, we won't know for sure from our position, but definitely great news that they're both settled in the top 5 now. Francesconi, he's purple again in Sector 1 Ed, so alarm bells I'm sure will be ringing in the KKR pit wall. They've got to know Francesconi is on the absolute mission at the moment, so he's really making this car hum after having to be a bit of a spectator in the first couple of laps. And Luvink down the inside of the CM Tech.
It's Hoekstra.
And it's Wopke Hoekstra conceding.
Yeah, there we go. So good move from Luvink, who's of course another of our substitute drivers, but he's also opened the door for Watson to follow him through. Him and Hoekstra going side by side down this back straight. Another fastest lap for Francesconi, 1:17.5. He's about 7/10 quicker than Phylan per lap then, as this 13th place battle negotiates that final chicane. So Watson now will be looking to pick off the less experienced Michael Luvink for P13 here. Yeah, certainly quite a few battles yet to play out. Flack's still going, interestingly, on the softs. We saw this previously because Flack hadn't binded his changing tyre button for the pit stop, so he had to stay on the same set of soft tyres in last year's Canadian Grand Prix in race 1. So he should have learned from that, because we've been regularly reminding him and making fun of him for it. So hopefully he doesn't repeat the same mistake. The last lap for Flack was about just over a second lap slower than LaHoo behind him. So Flack is looking to really push the hards in this final stint, interestingly, with about 11 laps left to go. Yep, he's still going.
He refuses to conform at the moment.
Unless he thinks it's going to rain again.
Yeah,
that's what he's hoping.
An extraordinary call. He'll hope certainly he's filled that gap in between Mayer and Hatch at the moment. So about 20 seconds in the pit lane, it should roughly be. He is unable to get on the podium on ordinary circumstances, but as you say, Ed, he'll be hoping for divine intervention in the sky to have more raindrops and that allow him the unique opportunity to pit for intermediates and go to the end with that opportunity. But at the moment, he's just losing more and more time, so he's probably just trying his best to sample these soft tires and gain that information. Yeah, you can see now Gallery 2, etc. of Galka, and then Scarpelli also, or sorry, Bill, I should say, is there as well. So Galka and Bill would have been lapped otherwise, but Flack now in the pits.
Well, there's no sense continue if you get held up by lap traffic as well. So I think Flack knew He sort of had to give up the ghost there, but it was a good effort nonetheless. He still could be in play for P4. It's Che Hatch that I think will be the really close threat to him here. Francesconi continued to light up the time screen, but the fastest lap was actually set briefly there by Alexander Gonzalez-Green, 117.4. So he's another that started on the hards and has switched to the softs. The problem is he's fighting Luvink, Watson, Hoekstra in front of him that have all done the exact same strategy. So really the soft runners hoping to pick off the hard runners, but it's not playing out so far. It looks like Flack is going to get out a good couple of seconds ahead of Che Hatch here. So Flack still in a strong position and will have much fresher hards. So there should be a bit of a delta in his battle against Jack Mayer, 3 seconds ahead of him here. So this could be really interesting if Mayer starts to run out of tires. Those who pit earlier for the hards and indeed early for the softs, like Gazowski was the first to pit from hard to softs. So his softs, he's really going to have to nurse them, and he's got Menaclon all over the back of him in the fight for P10 then. So I have a feeling Gazowski is going to have a really tricky final 10 laps here.
Oh yeah, that is definitely probable. He's got to figure out a way to keep those tires in good condition, knowing that the drivers around them, around him, Clont and Van Sust, on harder tires should be able to catch up before the evening is done. Yeah, that's the pressure now for Gazowski to maintain this P10 and give himself the last ticket into the random grid draw. With 10 laps to go, that's the job. Oh my, that's Hatch. Che Hatch having a big wobble there. And he's done superbly to catch it, but now he's left himself exposed a little bit to Tylene. If the KKO number 19 can catch up, then yeah, that'll be the opportunity for a top 5 contest.
It traded incredibly well to keep that out of the wall of champions there. That was cat-like reflexes. That was so very heart-stopping moment there for Hugh Performance, but luckily Che Hatch hasn't lost the position. But now the problem is if Filing gets picked off quickly by Francesconi on the softs, all of a sudden Francesconi's got P5 staring right in front of him now as well. So this is very good news because with Scott Flack he can completely focus on trying to catch Jack Mayer in front of him. But yeah, and for Francesconi too, like I said. But for Che Hatch and Lucas Filing, they're going to have to do some defending in the final laps of this one as we cut back to the P19 battle between Cardaz, Scarpelli, and Philip Koenig here, who I think has just lost out to Scarpelli in recent history. So Cardaz on the softs has, I think, cleared both of them, having gotten caught up in the early lap issue and have to replace his front wing. And I think Scarpelli and Koenig may also have been wounded from that first lap incident as well. Oh, and there comes the rain again.
Oh!
Just after everybody's pit, so this will annoy Scott Flack. He'll wish he stayed out now.
It was very difficult though on worn softs, even in changing conditions to keep them
especially
going.
as we see Francesconi picking off Filing for P6.
Oh, there you go now. Francesconi, a man in form. He's got himself really, really geared in for the remainder of the race. Tylene has to accept he's been overtaken on this occasion. Still time, of course, before the end of the race. Watching out for those droplets. If they get any more intense, then yeah, it will build up this race into a fine finish. But yeah, at the moment, the top 5 drivers are all separated. But Francesconi wants to get involved with that hunt to get 5 different teams into the top 5. So let's see if he can make this count as Tylene watching his onboard down to the hairpin. Just got to watch and see what happens next.
Yeah, we did see a comment by our Super League race winner, Mark Schluter, who said that it was just like the Super League race he was in at Sepang last week. Not wet enough for Inters. Well, let's see in these final 8 laps or so if that's put to the test. Flack has got to push on here. Unfortunately for him, I think Mayer has actually gained a bit of time. Although on that the lap before this one, Flack was 3 or 4 tenths quicker. This lap he's 2 tenths slower than Jack Mayer here. So if anything, this could be really interesting. If it's wet but not wet enough for Inters, that could play into the hands of Francesconi, who's able to keep the softs up to temperature a lot easier than the hard tire runners. As you can see, Luvink there has just been picked off, I think, going into that chicane by Omari Watson. So Watson continues his climb up the order into P13, but there's 3 seconds to Van Sust. I think Watson is going to need some mistakes from the runners up ahead if he wants to sneak into the top 10 and get that reverse grid contention under his armory here.
That's right, yeah. Lots of work still to be done. And that's the trick now to get into the position to fight on.
The comment from Yosoppen in tsunami time. Okay. Well, it doesn't look like it's that heavy so far, but yeah, certainly this will have everybody really, really concerned, especially they're expecting, oh, it will go away like last time, and then it doesn't go away, and then all of a sudden, the curves become absolutely lethal. That will be the switch, I think, that might make one or two near the back risk it for the Inters.
But who's in a position that they have nothing to lose? You'd certainly argue Gonzalez Green would dearly love a point if there were some drivers in trouble ahead of him. So I'm not sure if he could gamble for Bottle and help out James. Galka, certainly we saw him a good ways back with Cedric Bill, so I don't know if they'd want to risk it so close to the end. Philip Koenig just doing his best to stay on the lead lap, of course. So Team Iris lost Malsharak at the beginning of the race as well. So that's where the drivers with nothing on their scoreboard at the moment, they'd be the ones you'd want to watch to see if they're just going to go for broke. Because actually Cedric Bill is in the pit, so maybe he fancies a gamble here for Axelion. So wait and see what Bill... Oh, he has gone for it. He has gone for it. Premonition comes a little bit true there. So Bill outside the top 15. He wants to end this race, hoping for a dramatic rise in the precipitation.
Yeah, well, everyone's really looking to see what those lap times look like for Cedric Bill. But I think in this circumstance, it's going to be when drivers start falling off the road. Because I think Bill is just thinking, I need to get to the end of this one without sliding off, essentially. So that's what's motivated that decision. You see Francesconi now all over the back. Che Hatch, actually, they're all both starting to catch Scott Flack slightly here. Francesconi goes clean around the outside on the soft tyres here. And that last lap, 8/10 quicker than Che Hatch. And almost 3/10 quicker than Scott Flack as well. So the softs, if you can't be on Inters, the softs are the tyres to be on right now.
Yeah, softs are the preferred tyre in slippery conditions, not quite full-on rain, of course. So yeah, if you have the softer tyres as the rain is starting to build up here at Montreal, Quebec, that's ideally what you'd like to have. So Francesconi, as we've just seen, he's delighted with this situation now. He's really pulling out some great lap times. So Hatch, poor old Che, couldn't do anything about that. So Francesconi, he's got preferred compound in good nick. So, you can see now it's starting to get a little bit hairy. So he's got to think about what he's going to do next when the hard tires may struggle a little bit more with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, I wonder if Bill is also being lapped at the moment, so even if the Inters are performing better, he might have to let the front runners through here. But you can see Francesconi using quite a lot of his years of experience from Super League to really good effect, because he's been in this sort of low grip situation before, and he knows exactly what to do here around Montreal. So Scott Flack may well be looking a little bit worried. He was hoping to challenge for P3. He might have to fight to hold on to P4 here. But yeah, currently reverse grid draw options with 4 laps to go. They are, I think, everybody from Hatch through to Gazowski. Gazowski's defended incredibly well from Menno Klont. I think the rain has really saved Gazowski's race here, because it's really allowed, even though the softs are a bit worn, they're up to temperature and fairly grippy, as we see Lufink going back around the outside at turn 1 of Omari Watson. So great little fight for P13 here, but grip is very much at a premium, and they are starting to catch Van Sust in 12th.
They are. So Raymond desperate to hang on to these points for MS Performance.
Yeah, hard's not working well for Van Sust here at all.
Just enormous anxiety now. He knows Stefano well out of reach in the DNF column there. So MS Performance just needs something from this opportunity. P15, of course, is Hoekstra, so he'll want to figure out a way through this queue. And look at Watson. Massive slide, but he has somewhat rescued it, but he is a little bit open to an attack, and Hoekstra will try and at least threaten him. They're understeering now, so this is real trouble. So Hoekstra is ahead out of the hairpin, but of course the attack can
they were both going for DRS, I think, because it's still technically a dry track. Is it? And it looks like it's just stopped raining as well as we're speaking. So yeah, DRS still in play crucially, and Cedric Bill having gone for the Inters. may well, I guess he didn't have anything to lose. He was in P17, P18 outside the points anyway, so it's not like a hugely missed opportunity there, but he may well even be struggling now to cool these inters down as the rain has not really held onto the surface there. But Watson was hoping to use DRS to get back through. Unfortunately, Hoekstra getting the better of him, and Watson is back down to P15 in all of this. Always look at Luvink all over the back of Raymond van Surst into turn 5. Oh, just pulls out right the last moment, but not far enough alongside into 5 and 6. And you can see the rear tires. Everybody's just running out of grip now. They were hoping it would keep raining. All of a sudden, those on the softs know that it could go away from them here.
Yeah, Hoekstra almost into the back of the KKR of Luvink. Thankfully, though, they had a mutual understanding about how to take that chicane without in contact, so lap time should definitely improve again after that downpour for the brief moment. So yeah, chance to regroup, make sure all is well in the world. DRS coming again, double helping for Hoekstra. He'll get 2 cars in his vicinity. There we go, down the inside. It's another opportunity against Van Sust, and Luvink takes it with both hands. Now he's got to pull clear with his second helping of the rear wing being open. Hoekstra down the inside for what will be the first turn. Needs to complete the move, and he has.
Yeah, I think it was lap 20 that Van Sust switched. Oh, as we see, Raymond Van Sust just really struggling and having to let Watson through very reluctantly then. So, yeah, I think the hards just not really working very well. We did, I think, briefly see it has actually started raining again now. Oh, and a little bit harder than before, it looks like. Or, well, I said that before, and it's not really added to anything. So maybe Bill may fancy just getting a little bit closer to the back of Philip Koenig. Still lapping the 119.4s, though. Well, that's his best lap. So 123 zeros, whereas Loho hit in the 121.5s, and he's just got this and one more lap to go. Rozak keeping him honest at 3 seconds, but Jack Mayer has fallen 10 seconds off the lead, and in fact, almost into the clutches of Scott Flack here. So we could see a freeway fight for third between Mayer, Flack, and Francesconi in these dying stages of the race. Francesconi is almost within DRS range, but could the rain be heavy enough for DRS to be switched off here?
Yeah, we'll watch out for the decision from...
Nobody's going to pit, surely, because this is not worth pitting on the last lap.
There's no benefit to pitting unless it was a supreme downpour like we saw at the Nürburgring back in 2023. That's where you'd have to pit. Even if it's a last lap, you wouldn't be able to survive on slicks for very long. But if it's just intermediate conditions, then do not pit on the last lap unless you're like 16th, hoping to finish 15th.
Here we go, Francesconi. The rear tyres just gripping in time there for the 8-9 chicane. And you can tell Flack under real pressure here. And how dearly he would love another top 4 result to add to his tally this season. It's been definitely one that didn't start all that well. Scott Flack in the opening couple of rounds in Australia and Japan, but since then he's really fought back well. Was really disappointed to lose the podium in the closing stages of race 2 at Pang, wasn't he? You can see Cedric Bill just up the road. He's been lapped, I believe, by Alex Laho, and I think that must be Rozak and Mayer coming through to... Oh, then the wall goes Francesconi! He's just completely lost it. The front wing is gone, and he's obviously beyond the pit entry, so he's got to keep going. But that will surely, this is a horrible situation for him. No front wing, no grip, and he's dry tyres on a very damp track now, and he cannot slow it down. Surely Che Hatch will go through and file in as well.
Yeah, there goes Che. He should easily have this move completed. Now it's a case of Hamming. Of course, he's got to catch up to teammate. And Luvink as well slides out, but in time.
Saved it.
Yeah, Watson will be alert to that situation. He'll know not to push that hard into the final chicane. And for a point, an extra championship point, Gonzalez Green has done it. Van Sust has lost out completely, so Gonzalez Green gets there. Francesconi down to 7th. Hamming, though, would probably be saying, catch up to me, or I'll catch up to you, and we'll see what happens from there. Just make sure we stay in formation with Juba. For Bottle just out of reach at the moment, but Van Sust, he's going to lose it into turn 4 there. He hit the wall.
That's a big end for the MS Performance man. So Van Sust, miserable ending to his day. But for Alex Laho, it is yet another race one victory. Has he ever been beaten in race ones so far this season? I think the answer to that is a very conclusive no. Oh my goodness! They are all going into the pit wall at the final corner. What on earth was going on there? It's Scarpelli and Koenig, I think. So Bill is through to P19. And there we go. That is Mayer going through and Flack into P4 as well. So Mayer rounds out the podium. Flack P4. Che Hatch should be coming through now in P5. Then it'll be Filing. Francesconi, I think, just picked up by Hamming now. There we go. So I think Francesconi was just picked over the line then. So no team orders at HGP, even with no front wing. Francesconi was going for it there. But Hamming had just enough grip out that final chicane to get the momentum he needed. So here's what happened. Absolute bedlam then. They've been caught by Bill. And Koenig and Scarpelli just absolutely tripped over one another. Oh, just synchronized swimming.
Synchronized, yeah. Cedric, delighted. He got by there, so he survives that situation. And there goes
look
Jack
at Watson. Mayer, sorry.
Yeah, Jack Mayer through it just safely. That preserves his bronze medal position. Well earned. P3 there. And Galka goes over the line 17th. Unfortunately, no points for Galliardi 2 in our feature race. But what a stunning ending for those drivers at the back of the grid. But no foul, no harm for Alex Laho.
Yeah, it would have been so easy as well for some of our front runners to trip over them there, particularly in those messy conditions. And we saw what happened to Francesconi as well, just losing it on his own, losing that front wing and losing shot at P4 there. So that will be frustrating for the Italian. But here are the final results, of course, for the time being. Alex Laho takes his 6th race 1 victory of the season. I believe, I've lost track of how many. I think that's his 9th or 10th win of the season as him and Scott Flack come together. But no harm done. The track is wet, so they may as well just slip and slide.
Sepang race 2. That's about it.
Yeah, only two. Basically, that's a 90% success rate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
depending on how you want to view it. Now he's spinning in the pit lane into the garage. Oh, I didn't quite line up. That's the one mistake so far of today. But Patrick Rozak will take another runners-up spot, just as he did in Bahrain earlier this season. Oh, well, he did finish first on the road, but then was demoted to P2 post. This time, great battle, but doesn't quite end in the pole's favour. Jack Mayer was right with them in the opening laps, fell to P3, about 10 seconds off the lead by the end. Scott Flack holds on to P4 after a really good defensive drive against Francesconi. Che Hatch, after a slow start, does recover to P5 ahead of Lucas Filin. Then we've got Frank Hamming. Will be a little bit disappointed with P7, but does at least beat his teammate Francesconi after that costly error. James Juba is P9, and Gazowski with that brilliant call to undercut everybody and get on the soft tyres from the hards. He is rewarded with the final position in the top 10. So a very good race for Emerald Hummingbird, all told, with Gazowski getting his best result of the season so far. Also getting their best team result of the season so far, Menoklon and Vopke Hoekstra recovering well on the alternate strategy. Mika Luvink will finish P13 in his substitute drive, so staying out of chaos. Had a great fight with Watson, actually, to beat Omari Watson, quite legitimately, did Mika Luvink. So really great fight between those two, with Watson having started from the pit lane, finishing P14, and Alexander Gonzalez-Green, as you rightly pointed out, Eoin, stealing the final point from bitterly disappointed Raymond Van Sust, whose challenge faded in the final couple of laps there. Both Gal 82s of Gallagher and Cardas out the points after Cardas was involved in a heavy incident at the start. Cedric Bill switching to the Inters while he just waited for Scarpelli and Koenig to spin in front of him, but he kept his nose clean, which is exactly what he needed to do. So well done, Cedric. And not finishing the race, sadly, were Wesley Stefano, Pablo Serrano, James Roquai, Massimiliano Rubili, Christian Maltrek, Remco Dezeo, Pessi Mikkonen, Alexander Rugota, most of whom we lost on the first lap, not when it started raining, funnily enough. So, yeah, it definitely was a really horrible start for Mikkonen. Let's hope he lasts a bit longer come race 2, because he had a horrible crash where there was nothing left of that car up by turn 3, essentially. But anyway, that concludes our first race of the evening. We're going to go for a quick break, but of course, anyone between Lucas Filin, Frank Hamming, Michael Francesconi, James Duper, and Matthias Gazowski could find themselves on reverse grid pole. So look out for that in a few short moments' time. As the rain continues to fall over Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, we're going to go on break and see if we're in for our first official wet race in 2 years. Don't go anywhere.
inside a place of... On the next X...
Pretzels. Kelty seat, the coffee beanery, Tyrek.
Flat out. Oh no!
No.
Oh no! Who's round? It's Magnussen.
Oh, it's going to be a touch moment. It's in the barrier. Oh, they spun. Oh, this is a carnage.
And Menocon's
Oh
gonna
my
win.
God.
It's a double pass. Could they take each other off? They don't. And Black slide. It's a victory for the Tuties.
They touch. They're now. Oh no!
Soriano's gone around and met the wall. Mitchell will go through. Does it go uphill into turn 4? Oh, and round the outside. What a fabulous move.
Frelick will use all of his as well. Here he comes. He makes a move. They touch. They run wide. And Munio's going to get it. We're going 3 wide. Look at
Sing.
contact. Oh, my goodness. The Tyne has lost a wheel.
Time's out.
The dramatic race that we were teeing up the entire time has come to an end.
Well, welcome back to a very soggy and damp Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in the Ile Notre Dame near downtown Montreal in Canada for round 6. We have seen race 1 already end in a bit of a downpour, but it was mostly a dry race. Won, of course, by French driver Alex Lahoud. Doesn't quite speak French-Canadian, the language of Quebec, the local province, but certainly a popular and although expected winner, it must be said, from the pole position that he set. But a great fight, especially in those early laps against Patrick Rozak. And of course, Jack Mayer was briefly involved in that fight too. So we're seeing free practice at the moment. Most of the drivers practicing on inters, although Jack Mayer, interestingly, has decided to put the wet tyres on. We're still waiting for a confirmation of what the reverse grid number is going to be, whether it's going to be just the top 6 or the entire top 10 that get reversed here, Eoin. And, oh, I'm seeing it now. It is our lowest reverse grid number. It is Lucas Filin that I'm seeing on pole position then. So that is good news for Filin. Good news for, I think, 5th and 4th place men as well from that first race. Che Hatch put onto the front row. And, of course, Scott Flack put into 3rd on the grid then. So, particularly if this is a race that starts wet and dries out, there could be a bit of strategy. And currently, I just think it's been a wet warm-up all the way through. It's all of a sudden turned to dry conditions now in terms of the sun has come out. Although the track isn't dry yet. So, in terms of, we're wondering about, whether usually it's, where can the soft last in race 2? Essentially, this is... will the inters last in race 2, or will somebody take the gamble and switch to dries? That's the situation we're looking at the moment.
My goodness, Edge, yeah, an extraordinary situation, it must be said, doesn't happen very often here in FS1. Air gets the wet tyres within reach of Misha there, so very impressive that there's a bit of a brief balance between the two wet weather tyres. Important that these competitors do get some data on the circuit before we go racing while it is in this state. So yeah, definitely good to see lots of lap times being set among 13 drivers, and the bottles will pair up across the line there. And if anything, Alex Gonzalez-Green has improved his time, so that's good data for Lorenzo Tervich Funchic's team to pick up, knowing that they got the double score. Albeit it was a last gasp rescue for Alex GG.
Yeah, I think the only driver that's not touched the wet tyres in this one is, I was going to say Scott Flack, but he's just showing on the internet now. I was saying Frank Hamming now, which is quite odd. Maybe he is hoping that it is out and he can start on the soft tyre. Who knows? As we see, one of our Bodos is lagging into the wall there. I think that was AG. Was that AGG? No, AGG 63. It must be James then that was lagging there. So, yeah, this is going to be really, really difficult to predict. But Lucas Filin, of course, has Lucas Filin won a reverse grid race so far this season? He does have a few career reverse grid wins, but I don't think he's won.
This season, no.
He's finished on the podium a couple of times this season, but I don't think he's won.
Not a win, no.
So, yeah, KKR, especially after basically having to chop and change the second driver last couple of rounds with Hargitai's absence, it will be very, very crucial that Filin maximize the result in this reverse grid race. But of course it could be very, very chaotic, and we know, of course, if it's only the top 6 reversed, instead of starting like say P10, where you could, like we saw in Sepang, where Laho really got caught up in a lot of the drama at the start, which compromised his race. If he's starting P6, that's 4 places higher, of course, and 4 places less likely to get involved in carnage, unless a front row completely crashes into him or something extraordinary happens, which, to be fair, in these conditions, it could be incredibly unpredictable. Yeah, but for Laho, again, in a position where he doesn't really need to take risks. He can afford to sort of react to what everybody else does in terms of whether they change tyres or not mid-race.
Yeah, that's certainly true, but he'll know as well for his impeccable standards. Malaysia race 2 was a terrible disappointment, so he'll probably say that was my one freebie.
He put in some good moves, though. It was entertaining for us.
Yeah, it was entertaining for us, absolutely, but he'll say to himself, yeah, that was my one excuse of a race out of the way. I can't do that again. So he will also feel really frisky. I think they want to make sure he gets as many podium results as possible. And of course, Jack Mayer, he's very difficult to dislodge from the podiums at the moment. He's constantly getting those seconds and thirds at the minute. That keeps things interesting.
So we'll see. Conditions, of course, the track condition could potentially change in between the end of warm-up and the beginning of the race here. So if it's suddenly we're looking at a dry track, everybody could have to change off the inters. Oh, that doesn't look like that's the case, actually. But I think what we predicted beforehand, yeah, it is. This is going to be an inters potentially to dry race unless it rains again. So yeah, this will be fascinating to see. So let's go to a bumper, and after that, our final race of the day will get underway. So then, we're gearing up then for our second race of the evening, and it is, of course, Lucas Violent for KKR that will start on pole position. Who is going to gamble on the dries here on a damp but drying track, of course. So this will be fascinating to see how this plays out. Our front row, Lucas Violent joined by Britain's Che Hatch, Australian Scott Flack joined by another Briton, Jack Mayer, on the second row. On row 3, it is Patrick Rozak and our race 1 winner, our championship leader, Alex Laho, in P6. Then row 4, it's all HGPs, Frank Hamming with Francesconi right behind him. James Duper and Matthias Gazowski make up row 5, with Menokot and Wopke Hoekstra making it an all CM Tech row 6. On row 7, of course, we have Mika Luvink and Omari Watson recurring from the back of the grid in race 1. He'll be looking to get solidly into the top 10 here. Alexander Gonzalez-Green and Raymond Van Sust will currently make up row 8. Row 9 is all Gary 82, with Michel Garca leading Damien Cardes. Row 10, Cedric Bill having made the bold call for Inters. He is 19th, with Domenico Scarpelli starting 20th. 21st will be Philip Koenig, followed by Wesley Stefano in 22nd. Then it will be Pablo Serrano and James Roquai on row 12. Row 13 is Massimiliano Roboli, joined by Team Iris' Christian Mautrek. Then on row 14, it's Remco Desir, joined by Pesi Mikkonen. Finally, bringing up the rear in P29, row 15, it will be Alexander Ragota for 01 Esports. So another reverse grid race where Ragota will aim to go from the very back into the points. He's done it before in Bahrain. Can he do it here in these tricky conditions? So, according to what we're seeing now, it's showing Mayer on softs, but I'm not sure I'll quite believe that until we're halfway through the first lap. But if that is indeed the case, that could be a really risky call, especially if it rains again. So Mayer is really gambling on it just going dry all the way through to the end. And a couple near the back might be taking the same gamble too.
Yeah, just one tiny point very quickly. James Roquai got ahead of Roboli when they both crashed out, so he was classified ahead. So it did work out for James to limp that little extra few yards.
Well, let's see if it makes a difference here at the start, or if he immediately loses that position again. Here we go, then we wait for the lights. Lucas Violin knows this could be a brilliant opportunity to win today if he gets this strategy cool. Right, the lights coming on, and who knows what's going to happen in the second race of the day, the sprint race. 23 laps get underway here, and Montreal already a drive-through penalty for Klon for jumping the start there. So Menno in trouble as Che Hatch looks to the outside of Lucas Violin into turn 1, but Violin just about makes the corner there as they'll slot in behind. We'll have to keep an eye. Oh, let's look at Scott Flack spinning up the rear tires there. It is a little bit of an ice rink at the moment. These could be the worst track conditions as we see Laho going side by side with Rozak and just pulling off around the outside. We're going 3 wide in the background. Please, not another first lap collision into turns 4, 5 and 6 there. Luckily, it looks like most of the field has got through relatively unscathed as Wopke Hoekstra's made a great start. He's up to P10 from P12 on the grid there. So good stuff for CM Tech though, but Menno can't have jumped the start. He's down to P15, so this could be a very, very long second race of the day for Menno.
Difficult start for Francesconi on the other hand, as we watch him down in 12th at the moment. Frank Hamming not too perturbed. He's just behind LaHoo.
Oh, Rozak up the inside of Mayer. Sorry to interrupt you at the hairpin there. So I think Mayer is on the dry tyres then. So that's why he's a bit of a sitting target here for a lot of the Inter runners then, because this is Inter territory. But could that change quickly enough for Jack Mayer to warm up these tyres and start to regain ground as Che Hatch is lining up Lucas Weiland at the end of the first lap? Keep your eyes on Scott Flack as well. Oh, as Jack Mayer has to cut the circuit right in front of Alex LaHoo. And LaHoo is through into P5.
A critical pickup there for the championship leader against the former
some pit stops.
champ. Yeah.
It's Francesconi, Clont, and Hoekstra. Clont serving the penalties. Oh, Jack Mayer gets hit in the back by Frank Hamming there. But Francesconi, crucially, I think has ditched the Inters here and maybe will be going for softs.
Yeah, that looks to be the case. The slicks are now in the range where they could work on the drying surface. You can see the dry line.
No, okay.
Oh, sorry, maybe. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see for sure.
I think he is on softs. That's a visual glitch.
Yeah, just visual glitch. Yeah. That's going to be rectified soon enough. So, yeah, we will have slick runners. It
must have been a late call as well. Much slower stop than Hoekstra, I think, who has gotten through. So that is obviously that's promoted Gonzalez Green into the top 10 now. Jack Mayer still our highest runner on the soft tire. A lot of drivers are showing a question mark next to their tire choice.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means on race view, but I think what we should be seeing on stream should be accurate. So it's Hamming. Apparently another on the soft, so I'm not sure I believe that. It's saying Inter's on my one, but never mind that. Look at Che Hatch all over the back of Phelan again, trying to line up a move into the final chicane. Che Hatch going for the lead here, side by side. They collide into each other, and Hatch almost in the wall there. And again, they hit each other for good measure. This is going to allow Rozak to get involved. He's going side by side and round the outside of Scott Flack here for P3 here. So Rozak looking for another podium as our leaders again go side by side. Now Che Hatch is up the inside into turns 2 and 3, and Hatch takes the lead for Hugh Performance, but here comes Rozak up the inside of Lucas Phelan into turn 3. Will there be enough space for the both of them? Rozak in the wall.
Yeah, he got away with that on first inspection, but Scott Flack will pick up any
to the outside.
Oh my word, how's he done that? It's another supreme pass from the championship leader, and he's got the grip needed to get in the slipstream of Rozak and even Tylene.
Yeah, Rozak fastest driver on track at the moment, but Juba as well, lighting up the first sector and setting a purple time here. Mayer, by the way, has fallen down to P10. I think him and Raymond Van Sister, the two highest soft runners that I can see at the moment. Right now, off of that dry line, it is just absolutely treacherous then. So Mayer is really trying to survive. So we see, that looks like Luvink spinning up the rear tires into the hairpin in front of him. And Jack Mayer's got to be patient here. He could still be in contention, still 20 laps to go. As long as he doesn't lose too much ground, he can maybe make up a few places later on, as here comes Rozak passing Phelan for P2 there, and it's starting raining again. I think I saw a few drops there, so we'll have to see if that holds or not, but that could really scupper the strategies of those who switch to dries.
Yeah, brilliant lap though from Che, most recently 124.2, officially the fastest lap.
Juba faster though.
His personal best, beg your pardon.
In P6, 123.4. 4 seconds behind Flack, though, and closing. Or half a second, I should say, behind Flack. There he is.
Yeah, bottle of nails there. Wet weather transition strategy here. Now that it's starting to dry out and then maybe get wet again. So brilliant calls from the pit wall at Bottle. So if they keep that up, then yeah, they'll be contenders for the podium. Now, of course, Mayer tumbling down the order.
Here comes Juba up the inside of Flack into 8 and 9. That was a risky move there, and Scott Flack a little bit caught by surprise there. So James Juba getting very unorthodox. He seems to have a lot of confidence in these sort of transitionary conditions, as you say, trying to make the Inters perform really well here. But Juba is comfortably the fastest man on track, nearly a whole second quicker than race winner Che Hatch that previous lap, and he's gaining ground quickly here.
Roquai and Koenig are having a fight for the final championship point. There was a brief yellow flag, but it seems to have cleared straight away. Flack, careful over the curbs there. And into the pits, Patrick Rozak, a huge call for Emerald Hummingbirds. They want to have a successful round here. This track has suited them so far, but he wants to get off the current set of tyres and go for slicks. May have got news that the cars outside the points who are on slicks for their first stop like Hamming, like Francesconi and Hoekstra, they're all doing pretty solid jobs now. So across the line will come Hamming. That lap, yeah, it was pretty good at 123.2. That looks very impressive.
Yellow sector 1, Serrano. Oh, for the second race in a row, I think Serrano may be out. He's dropped well out of the order, and DNF. Oh, bits of that car missing then. So, really no luck for 0-1 tonight, it would seem so far. Pessi Mikkonen, though, he is still going, and he is another of drivers, I think, switched early on to the softs. Yeah, I think he started on the soft, sorry. So, he's still going P19 with, that was Amari Watson just in front of him. But Francesconi's out on his first lap out the pits. He has binned it on the soft tyres there. And, well, not his first lap out, wasn't it? I think he was side by side. So here we go, side by side with the second KKR and squeezed into the wall. Oh, dear. By, who was that? Luvink, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He is. Luvink did just about get going, but the rear also damaged on the KKR. So really, neither of them quite getting the space they needed. Flack and Gazowski now pit, and it's going to be a huge rush. I think Jack Mayer should be about to take the lead before too long if all of these Inters bail now.
Yeah, we'll see. But for now, Jack is 6th. So Mayer will have to wait a little bit longer for his strategy to pay off. Van Soest 10th, Stefano 11th there on slick tyres.
Overpowers, double stacking here.
Yeah, it's interesting to see now after Rivoli DNF'd in race 1. Flack rejoins 17th behind Hamming, so that's crucial for HGP. Got the jump on Flack here, so that'll help Hamming. Now that Francesconi was bundled into the wall there, so that'll
and of course,
give him yeah, go ahead.
The thing about this is, if it now turns into a dry race, it's about whether the softs can do sort of the 17 laps, essentially, because they don't have to do the full 23, and that puts, obviously, Hamming pit really early on, as yellows in the final sector, whereas Flack pitting a bit later could put him at a big advantage in this stint as Watson passes Scarpelli for P12 lower down. Here's Laho gaining a few positions from the pit stops. Now he fancies taking P2 from Fabian. Fabian turns it from the outside. Oh, my goodness me. And just about again, Alex Laho decides that he wants to live to fight another day rather than get taken out and lose a whole bunch of championship points here. But he really can't afford to be losing time fighting because he's just going to get undercut. Jack Mayer now sets the fastest lap of the race, 122.1. So that is really, really good news. This call from Potentia could well pay out here.
Yeah, Michel Galka's in the pits for Gallery 82. They will have to work their way back into points paying contention with Michel. Roshak responded with a fast lap himself, so that's Emerald Hummingbird now on their way back up as well. So the top 5 drivers are all on intermediates, and Lahoo wants to make it a Team Hugh 1-2, and he's moments away perhaps if Lucas Tylene is sufficiently pressurized into a mistake, or else a pure pace overtake from the championship leader. We'll wait and see exactly what will come of it. So the stubborn 6, I believe, are still out on the intermediates, or 7. Yeah, 7 cars
I
are
think,
still
yeah.
on the intermediates, beg your pardon there. So,
I think Flack's had a spin, and he might have damaged the car as well.
Yeah,
let's see. So he was trying to catch Hamming, wasn't he? Here's Laho having another go. Has to get on the wet part of the track. That's no problem with the Inters. Just about gets through. And there's just enough space left there by Filing for him to slot through. Look at Juba still going, trying to catch up to both of them. And now Filing looks to the outside into someone late on the brakes. He's really braving it out there. And so too is Alex Laho. He is really rising to the challenge. These two collided before while fighting for podiums in reverse good races. Gonzalez Green now decides to give up the ghost and switch to dries. Of course, if all the soft tail runners are fighting each other, might be a bit of incentive for the Inters to run longer. The other reason might be if they think it's going to rain again and that they think the soft tail runners have got it wrong here.
Yeah, Che Hatch's lap, though, was pretty similar to Mayer's most recently, so it is kind of a case where both compounds have their advantages and disadvantages through the lap. So there's no definitive winner just yet. If Hatch and Clear Air is one example or one sample to take to heart.
Oh,
of course,
I think Rokai in trouble.
Yeah, go
Guy's
ahead.
just lost a load of positions on the Inters there, and he's lost his front wing as well. So the Inter runners are starting to burn up the tyres. Even some of the soft runners, like we saw Flack, really struggling in these conditions then. So this is a race that is starting to turn into another race of survival here. And here comes Laho once again challenging for P2, but Jack May, you can just see in the background the shot on the soft tyres is catching all of them, and I think there was that Che Hatch diving for the pits. It was. So Phylan retakes the lead, but how much longer will these top three hang on here on this strategy, because they're going to become easy meat for Jack Mayer. Don't forget, if all the soft runners stay out and the Inter runners pit, Raymond Van Sust and Wesley Stefano will be running net P2 and P3 at the moment with Watson P4, and Rozak has made up great ground to be just a second behind Watson now.
Yeah, Mayer smashed it on that last lap at 120.9, has well outclassed Tylene and Lahoo with a 122 for both. So yeah, it's soft tires all the way now, unless it
just ahead of Watson.
Yeah, fresh downpour is the only rescue.
So Hatch, I think, has come out in a sort of net P4 here, essentially. Oh, as Bill has gotten a penalty, I think, for a drive-through penalty for coming in the pits, or potentially track limits there. Bill, I think, was actually hanging on the Inters then, so no, he just pit off the Inters to the softs and come out P19. Okay. Yeah, so that's a real shame, as there's another wing that's party company coming out of 6 and 7 chicane there, as we see Murray Watson just trying to fend off Patrick Rozak here, who, as you say, is absolutely flying at the moment, and they've got to, because look, Hatch, Stefano, Sust, those are going to be the podium positions the way things are going right now. But meanwhile, Jack Mayer catching right up to the back as Phylan cuts across to stop him, snatching the lead here. And I think there's got to be a point where these three are committing to this strategy now and are going to try and work together to hold up Jack Mayer, surely.
Yeah, that's plausible, all right. And Mayer, though, has got a new fast lap again. So that means it's got to be pure, unadulterated stubbornness from Tylene and Lahoo. They're just not going to make it. Once
DRS opens up, the problem is once that happens, surely Mayer will be able to pick them off one by one fairly without too much of a challenge there. But yeah, meanwhile, the interesting thing is, look at the gap between, because Mayer goes start on the softs and has been able to clear Stefan and Van Sust, and he's pulled quite a gap on them. What's 14 seconds then? So these three fighting each other. Is this going to allow the top three to pit and come out ahead of them, essentially? So this is really critical for Che Hatch to get through here.
Of course, yeah. MS Performance won't want to play nice, though. They'll want to fight for these points. They've made the strategic call to start on the softs. They're still perfectly happy with their condition, so they're going to stay out for as long as they can. So well done to MS Performance. They took the risk, and it has paid off so far. And Che Hatch, who will feel like this was his race, certainly to shine. He's ahead. Yeah, that's for position. And of course, Tylene almost lost it there, but yeah,
and
neither
Juba in.
Want to pit, but Juba comes in for Bottle. So Bottle were quick when the track was still damp, but now Juba has to hope he won't get caught by too many competitors.
Well, Juba may have seen Che Hatch being held up there and decided that he might be able to come out and not lose too much time. He's got the soft tires on. Ignore what you're seeing on screen. That will change momentarily then. That's, of course, released Mayer into third. There comes Che Hatch, and Patrick Rozak will get through as well. Will Omari Watson also get past James Juba? So Juba will have much fresher tires. There's Gonzalez Green. His teammate leaves just enough room, but it is Gonzalez Green ahead. Surely Juba on the fresher softs will make short work of him here, if indeed there aren't team orders at play here, because Juba is surely the faster driver at this point in the race on the softer tyres, with the fresher soft tyres.
Yes, yeah, that would make sense to let him go if he is definitely quicker. And Hatch on the outside for 8 and 9, braking at the 100-meter board. Yeah, he's clear. He took the apex. He had to have known. He had the room against Raymond, so yeah, fair play there. And
Raymond cooperated, didn't just drive into him. But you could tell he was trying to defend so that Wesley Stefano could build a gap. And here comes Mayer going for P2. Phylan just about threads the needle between Laho and Mayer into the pit entry there. So now it is Laho versus Mayer, but surely Alex is on a bit of a hiding to nothing here on these inters. These guys have been good considering he's on exactly the wrong tyres for these conditions. But this is a dream scenario for Jack Mayer.
Of course, yeah. He knows he can win races now that he's made the switch to Potentia in the series. He once won the championship in. He was the crowned champion back in 2023, so he knows how to win races and win this title, but to actually win in 2026 has eluded them so far. Tylene rejoins just ahead of AGG, Alex Gonzalez Green, so that's at least a crumb of comfort that KKR can now look ahead rather than behind.
Oh!
Look at Scarpelli! Oh, that was close.
I thought Juba was going in the wall there, but that must have been a visual lag glitch there. But yeah, Scarpelli has nipped through. So while Juba was warming up his tyres, Scarpelli said, "Oh, I think I'll have that P10. Thank you very much." He's having a really great race. He was, I think, one of the drivers that pit at the end of the very first lap. So could see some touchable. I think Rozak has cleared Van Sust as well now for P5. So Wesley Stefano now on the bottom step of the podium. How much would that mean to MS Performance? It's been so long since their last podium. I think it must have been Victor Ivanov a while back. They've certainly had good qualified performances as Scarpelli leaves the door open. Up the inside goes Juba, and Juba through back into P9 and free to chase down his teammate Gonzalez Green. So really P9 upwards. It's going to be really, really intense, as I think Stefano's been picked off with Che Hatch using the DRS to get through. Then Jack Mayer still being held off by Alex Laho, though. So Che Hatch may be able to close a little bit of that 14-second gap if Laho is able to just keep restricting Jack Mayer's lap times. 1 minute 19.4 by Che Hatch. Mayer's last lap 1:19.9, so only half a second though. So Laho's not able to hold them up too much, I think, without sacrificing his lead position here.
And now Mayer for the race lead. Not this time. The chicane here at 8-9 is just a little bit too acute if you're not already side by side. But yeah, MS Performance, they crave the days of Tom Satterley and Victor Ivanov for their wins and podiums. But if Wesley and Raymond at the moment can hang on to these top 10 results, that would be a fabulous return for the outfit there. I've got to keep working hard though. The English backed team. And here comes Mayer for the lead. This will mean a lot to him if he can get it done. And he has.
There we go. Juba, by the way, swapping, and Gonzalez Green swap positions for P9 repeatedly there. Juba's had some sort of incident and fallen down to P5. Spin the Juba, I think.
Oh, no.
Coming out the hairpin. There we go. So him and AGG maybe come together. Filing now picks off Van Sust, who falls to P7. But MS Performance could still be on for a double top 10 here, the way this crazy race is unfurling. But for Jack Mayer now he's released and unleashed into the lead. Surely Laho has got to pit. If he stays out, he's going to be easy meat for Che Hatch and co here. But this is what happened to the Bodal cars.
Side by side into the hairpin. Juba's ahead, but on the under pass, yeah, slip in the damp.
He had to go wide off of the track, the clean onto the dirty part of the track, essentially.
The dirty part, yeah.
So that's a bit of a setback. Juba now still going in P14 behind Kozowski. Pessi Mikkonen now, incredibly, he's got the Alpha Sierra into P10. The man who was absolutely bodied, had a horrible start to race one, has kept his nose clean, has made the right calls in this one. And as Gonzalez Green really slides the rears out. Mikkonen's only about 2 seconds behind him now, and could well be on for a fantastic result for the Alpha Sierra team. Lucas Fylan, by the way, is the fastest man on track, 1:18.4, and he's only 8/10 behind Rozak as they all fight behind Wesley Stefano, who's still just about in DRS range of Che Hatch then. So Che Hatch only 11 seconds behind Laho, now taking about 2 seconds per lap out of Alex Laho here. So yeah, I think Jack Mayer could well be on for his first win of the season as Gonzalez Green now launches up the inside, but way too deep on Omari Watson into the final chicane. So Watson will hold on to P8 there. So Bodal really struggling to gain ground at this point in the race.
And this is when the drivers have to really prove their mettle now. A little bit of setbacks after that early streak of form in the intermediate conditions. So hopefully James and Alex can both keep working hard and maximize their results. A great race one at the end, but now they've got to make sure that they can peak at the right time after some setbacks. Tylene, though, he knows this race was certainly a long shot to make work. At times he gave it an honest go, pushed Alex as long as he could, and now he's got to pick off some quality names here, starting with Patrick Roshak, who still has ambitions to finish as high up the title race as he possibly can.
Yeah, keep in mind, by the way, lead fight might not be done dusty yet because Che Hatch's tyres are about 10 laps younger than Jack Mayer, of course, who started on those softs and is trying to get them to the end. Of course, he's got to close the gap, and he's got to be let through. But to the outside comes Filing with the DRS through into P5. So Rozak, having made good progress in switching, now maybe trying to save tires for the end, or he's just ended up stuck behind Stefano, and now that's enabled Filing to pounce here. He's really been lining up timing screens as Filing, our reverse pole sitter. Now he's the one that's got to deal with Stefano. As you can see, Chehatch now 2 seconds up the road, but up the inside comes Filing on the approach into turn 3, and Stefano has to reluctantly yield, and the rear tires are going, and into the wall goes Stefano, and now Rozak finally picks him off. So Stefano down to P6 in one fell swoop.
It's unlucky, still on the original compounded tires he started the race in, so that's where the gamble for him will start to feel less comfortable, so he can hopefully monitor that suspension, see if it's okay. Definitely the grip is absent on turn-in a little bit there for Wesley, so he's got to make sure he knows everything about the car for the remaining quarter of this race, to make sure MS Performance do get rewarded for their decision making at the start of the race.
Yeah, so it is really about damage limitation, trying to keep both cars maybe in the top 7, top 8 at this point, especially because Watson is also on tires that have been on since the start of the race. So he's in the same strategy, same position essentially, as we see all the MS cars, really everybody actually just flirting with the wall of champions on the exit there as the rear tires start to complain. You can see Van Sust is now right on the tail of his teammate here. If they fight each other, that could potentially allow Watson and Gonzalez Green back into place. Here comes Gazowski trying to get into P13. Scarpelli fending him off is the Italian. So some good defensive driving there. And Gazowski, who was P10 with a great strategy call in race 1, has found himself a little bit more on the back foot in this particular encounter. And now struggling to fight away past the Cap Clay car in front of him. Koenig, by the way, holding on to the final point by just half a second from Alexander Rigota, who once more has gone from the back of the grid to just outside the points paying positions here. So can the German Koenig fend off Rigota here?
It's the question. So
and there's
much
Scott
on the
Flack
line.
not far behind as well, as I think Gonzalez Green has got past Watson for P8, by the way, further up the road.
Yeah, great spot. So all change in the midfield battles. So important for the final championship point there between Koenig and Ragosa as well. So valuable for their points of view, just to pick up a point to end their evening's work. Riboli, of course, would love to prove in race 1 how good he was. Of course, eventually did crash out in the overpower, so if he can threaten those top 15 drivers, that'd be great. Tyling gets fastest lap. Oh, that's a massive shot to the background.
Oh, it's Hoekstra.
He's almost gone over the wall.
How's he managed that? Well, he's in the wall of champions. He was my pick for champion at the start of the year. I don't think quite that's what I had in mind, but not for sure Vopke wanted to do that either. So he was fighting away with, I think, oh no, he'd just been overtaken and the curb launched him. So he gets overtaken by Juba and then finds himself stranded on the wall, as you say. So just really a freak accident there.
Oh, bounced down and then the sausage curb launched him back up. My goodness.
And that's potentially cost of Vopke's best result of the season as well. So that's gutting. He was P12 when that happened. But yeah, nonetheless, it does move Rigota to P14, and Koenig, who'd just been passed, is still in the points in P15, now holding off Riboli. Sorry, it wasn't Flack, it was Riboli that was catching them. As we cut back to the Stefano train, holding off his teammate Van Sust. Now Gonzalez Green on the fresher softs will be looking to pick off both of them if they're not careful here. So they've got to use DRS. Stefano's got to give DRS to Van Sust here, but that could allow the Dutchman to overtake him, and they overtake him. He does. Van Sust through into P6 as he mounts the curb too. You can see Rozak just in the foreground there. By the way, Hatch and Filen, they take about 2 seconds a lap out of low, so they will catch him before the end. And Gonzalez Green up the inside of Stefano, slides the rears up, and Stefano is does a big 360-degree spin. Through goes Mikkonen as well, and Juba too, who's now back in the top 10 after his mistake earlier.
Now he's got to think about the rear tires. He's definitely put some extra oomph into them, burning out just to rescue his slide. Got the 360 spin completed without interrupting anyone else's race. So now he's got to watch out for that tire life on the rear tires, and he'll have to hope the same doesn't befall Van Sust here, because Gonzalez Green, now that he's finding great lap times again, he's almost certain to give Raymond a lot of trouble now as he sees these soft tires gain performance.
Yeah, and let's keep our eyes. Actually, Pessi Mikkonen, 118.9 that last lap, so he's faster than a lot of these drivers ahead of him. That's incredibly impressive from Mikkonen, given that he's not redriven at all in FS1 so far this season. He's jumped in the deep end of the track where it suddenly started raining, horrible conditions. Didn't get any track time in race 1 as well because he got taken out on the first lap essentially, and he's driven incredibly well in this race. I think he's got to get his flowers as well for the otherwise struggling Alpha Sierra team. To see them running P9 will be great news for them, because I think they've not really, ever since Chris Butcher did that one substitute race, they've not really had too much to shout about, have they? Che Hatch, by the way, and Lucas Violin trading purple sectors here on this particular lap. Laho, surely now he's less than 2 seconds ahead of his teammate Hatch. He's got to think about just letting him through cleanly. Big cutting of the track there by James Juba at turn 3 and 4, so just pushing that a little bit too hard to catch back up to Mikkonen here.
Yeah, and of course, Lahu, in chat, it's agreed that he should just take to the checkered flag with the same set of tyres. So yeah, he should not.
He can't back out now, only 3 laps to go.
He has to commit,
He's the only one that's committed. And I almost wonder, him being the championship leader has made him think, well, I want to fight for the lead of the race rather than set up for pitting for softs and coming out P5, P6 or whatever he would have done. And you can see Che Hatch is very much within range now. They've got to manage this quickly because Phylan could take advantage if they start fighting each other.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Let's check the lap times across the line. Sector's definitely much better for Che.
Seconds quicker again.
Yeah.
Exactly 2 seconds. As Hatch again lowers the fastest lap at 1:0. He's just flying, and Laho's now going to start holding him up if he's not careful.
Get moving.
Oh! He did move out of the way, but he reacted fairly late there. So Laho, the good thing he was looking in his wing mirrors. Now he's got to do Phylan a favor, Hatch a favor, I should say, and hold the Phylan. But yeah, 5 seconds to between Hatch and Mayer. He is taking about a second and a half out per lap at the current moment, but he's not got enough time to catch, surely, even at that pace.
Yeah, I'd imagine the top 4 should be fairly settled now. Patrick Rorschach, it'd be so difficult for him to catch up. Yeah, maybe he just could sneak it. Gonzalez Green, though, he'll need a mistake from the championship leader to make that count. So yeah, it's a shame those drivers that could pull off a bit of a coup based off their decisions to pit when they did. But here we go. This should be Lucas Tylene getting his first chance at the overtake. No need to go for bro.
Oh, we've seen this before. Oh no!
Oh, that's big trouble.
Laho's out,
Lord,
surely.
The rear wing is gone. Yeah,
Oh,
the rear
dear.
wing is gone.
Through goes Rozak up to P3 then, and they're still racing each other. I don't know what Alex Fist is going to happen when he gets on the brakes for turn 1 here. Oh, well, he realizes he's got no rear wing and backs out then, so Phylan will keep going. I don't think Phylan was too badly damaged, but he'll be very annoyed to have lost that podium because of Laho giving away there. I did say Laho could do the team a favor by holding, but I didn't think he would do that. So yeah, just a little bit messy. Alex not willing to yield, and it could cost him in the championship. Mayer's going to chew into that lead now.
Yeah, a big gain in the championship now for Jack Mayer. After all, winning
Oh,
this
he's got to
race.
be careful
He does
here.
Hold on, yeah, he's got to yield to all these.
Oh,
drivers.
Mikkonen goes wide. That's going to allow Juba through then. So he fell upon Laho almost the wrong moment there. Got a bit distracted, and Juba takes advantage up to P8 then.
Yeah, that's super work there. These drivers, as Juba picks his moment though, great work. And Mikkonen just having to stay behind. Lahu, as long as there are points on the table, he will not quit by any means.
Well, he's got to pit because this happened before the final lap started, so he's got no option. He's surely going to drop out the point with the lengthy rear wing and the suspension repairs. The move going on up ahead. That's Watson. Fend off Juba up the inside, and Juba up to P7. That's 2 places gained on this lap. Well, 3 if you count Laho having to get out of his way then. So certainly our second Bodal man has not given up on trying to get right behind his teammate Gonzalez Green then after his mistake earlier on. Juba will be kicking himself, I think, because he knows a chance of the podium has slipped with his fingers. Now the lower points completely open up for our runners here as we start the final lap. Scarpelli side by side with Ragozza. Ragozza trying to go the long way around to steal P13 as this is the big fight behind Koenig for what is now P12.
Yeah, how the tables have turned. Philip Koenig was fearing just 1 point would come out of it, and the threat of getting nothing with Ragozza pressuring him. Now he's surged up to 12th place. Scarpelli, though, is doing him a favour, holding up Ragozza. Raboli has a championship point now, but Jack Mayer on the start-finish straight. He's on the cusp of ending his long wait of a win in 2026. So take it away, Ed. He's almost there.
Well, the podium streak continues for Jack Mayer, and finally, it's the top step for the 2023 FS1 champion. Jack Mayer wins an event for her first grid race in Montreal. Che Hatch will take his best result yet in P2, just 2 seconds of drift. Rozak will just hold on against Filin, who will feel absolutely furious with Alex Laho at the end of this one. And then it's going to be 5th and 6th for Gonzalez Green and Juba, who did get through past Van Sus. Juba was like a man possessed in that final stint there. So amazing stuff for Bodal Racing Team. Van Sus takes P7 from Watson. Mikkonen in P9 is excellent for him, and Stefano will just hold on to the top 10. As we see Scarpelli, nearly got Koenig for 12 on the line there, but fell just 3 tenths short, I believe. Oh, no, just under 2 tenths short, I should say.
Just a few tenths in it. And there we go. Scott Flack actually takes P15, so Raboli lost that point after all.
So here we go. Is this a replay of Filin and Leho? So Filin pulls to the inside. Leho on the inters has not got the grip, but he tangles with the wheel there. Difficult one to call. I definitely wasn't intentional from Alex. I think he was trying to be holding up Filin as fairly as he could, and I think just misjudged it a little bit. Look at this. He's long in the corner, and he can't back out at that point.
No, you can't. No.
And, he does bump him while trying to restart, which is probably a little bit unnecessary, but it's throwing, I think.
I just get it from Lucas's viewpoint. So, yeah, he just had hoped he was clear, but he wasn't. So, yeah, I think it was a pure racing incident. But, yeah, it's a shame. I really know that the pressure behind the wheel ramps up. So, yeah, it's just so unfortunate that it had to come.
It would have been so much worse if they both retired on the spot, which is what I thought had happened. File only losing one position, much more for Laho, though, who scores no points whatsoever then in the second race. For the first time this season, a non-score from Alex Laho. Isn't so. Well, we go. Jack Mayer is a winner then in the second and final race of the evening. And a long waited when he waited so long to win again in FS1. I think would it be Interlagos or Abu Dhabi 2023 that was his previous ones? So.
Yeah, it was one of them. Yeah, it was definitely one of them because he secured the title on points before race 2 in Interlagos, I'm fairly sure.
Well remembered. Che Hatch then gets his best result yet in P2, just 2.6 seconds off the lead in the end. So Lou did the best he could to help teammate, but Che Hatch couldn't quite make the miracle happen. But yeah, nonetheless, really impressive race by him. Patrick Rozak stayed out of trouble, was really aggressive gaining ground early on, and took advantage of the Filin and Laho crash to climb P3. Filin had to settle for P4, but a great team performance from Bodal with both Alexander Gonzalez Green and James Juba being really quick at different points in the race. And very, very good. Renzo is going to be absolutely pleased with that. Raymond Van Sust will take P7. On a good strategy call for MS Performance, but they only just about got Beauregard home in the top 10 in the end. Watson improves on his 14th place grid start to take P8. Mikkonen, from outside the top 20, retiring in race 1, takes P9. So really good there from the Finn. And on, as I said, rounding out the top 10 in the second of our MS Performance cars. So much needed points for that outfit. But Matthias Gazowski takes P11, just one place worse than in race 1, where he was P10. Philip Koenig, great finish for the German in P12, ahead of Scarpelli, who gets more points as a super sub for Skira Cap Clay. Alexander Ragosa goes from the back of the grid to P14, so one better than he did in Bahrain's reverse grid race, and Scott Flack steals the final point from his teammate Ribbley on the final lap there, after a small mistake really costing him midway through the race. So Flacker at least gets a point out of it, but he would have been hoping for more, I think, in all the chaos there. Ribbley, of course, P16 with Michal Galka behind him. Our final two finishers, Menno Klont, who had the driver penalty, and Lehoux, of course, that controversial collision, losing his rear wing and losing any chance he might have hoped of getting points out of that second race. Sadly, we did not see Wopke Hoekstra finish the race. He went out in a huge collision at that final chicane, along with Cedric Bill, Christian Mautrek, James Rokrai, Frank Hamming, I believe, was early out this race as well. I think we had a comment in the chat. I don't know who it was, which driver, but I believe it was Waffle 38 or something like that.
Yeah.
That said they couldn't change tyres at the pit stop. They hadn't mapped the button properly. They did the Scott Flack syndrome.
Yeah, so, James Roquai. That was him.
James, okay. Yeah, I it was James or Frank. It was one of the two. Yeah, that's a huge shame for James in the second year, especially seeing what his teammate did. Frank Hamming, though, will not be the runner-up in the championship. Jack Mayer will easily overtake him there with that brilliant win. Mike Luvink also not finishing the race, along with the other HGP of Francescani. This second race, very good for Potentia, very bad for HGP, it must be said, with Pablo Serrano, Remco Deseo, and Damien Cardes not making the end. So 2 retirements in a row for Remco. It's really not been much better, but he's scored about as many points broadcast races he has driven for this season, I regret to say. So hopefully things do get better for Remco, because he is certainly a great driver that deserves slightly more better than that. But anyway, that is the end of a very dramatic evening, and I think all that remains is the interview zone, and it looks like we got 3 drivers to interview, and I think Vincent gets there as well, just to congratulate them.
Yeah, I believe Lorenzo wants to watch TV, so I think he wants to go first, just to get a quick word with the bottle.
Fair
yeah, we have one question with Lorenzo.
Okay, yeah, Fabian is limiting us to one question, so we will stick by that. Okay, let's hear from Lorenzo Iterovic, who joins us now after a fantastic race 2 result, 5th and 6th for your 2 drivers, after James snuck into P9 in race 1 as well. Eventful day, Lorenzo, and it really felt like your boys were on the move in that one. Really, all the drama was happening to James and Alexander.
Yeah, not the best around, barely any practice put in, so race 1 obviously was poor. Objectively speaking, I'm not going to mince my words. Race 2 though, you know, the wet environment played its part, and you know, we got good points. I'm happy with race 2, even though, you know, James struggled a bit with his tyres and he had that spin in the hairpin in sector 3, but you know, still got 6th in the end, so you know, it cancels out.
Yeah, I think so. And the pace on the inters at the beginning, it was really quick, and right at the end, he seemed to really fired up. He was just picking them off one after the other to catch back up to Alexander then. So, yeah, that was really, really impressive. And Alexander keeping very clean and passing with the MS Performance guys in that second race. Actually had a solid first race, gaining a couple around to, was it P14 in the end, I think it was?
P15. He said himself, like, he barely had any practice. He had no pace. It looks like it was in the rear, pace-wise, for the race, but, you know, he said he was a bit thrown around in the opening laps in race 1, sustained some damage. It wasn't that bad, and didn't affect his pace that much, but regardless of the damage, he said his pace wasn't that good, and, you know, I said I'm not going to mince my words, and it wasn't, but you know, he managed to salvage points, 4 weeks break now, so, you know, just got to get him to practice on time for Rimmel and he'll be fine.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm going to assume Fabian's rule was 1 question total, not 1 question each, so I'm afraid, Eoin, you won't get to ask Lorenzo a question.
Sorry, Lorenzo.
No, it's fine, lads. I've got Eurovision to come back to. I want to see Albania sweep the floor with everyone else.
apart from the fact that you really should boycott. But anyway, that's a whole other discussion. So, anyway, but anyway, congrats on your points today, Lorenzo. Well done to your two boys. Maybe we might sneak in with one of them later if they fancy talking to us. But yeah, anyway, always great to talk to you, Lorenzo. It was fun working with you again on Tuesday. And yeah, enjoy your evening of entertainment.
See you later.
So then, right, shall we not keep our race 2? Well, we've got our race 1 and our race 2 winners. Shall we do them in order that they went in? Laho might not be in the best of moods, is the only thing I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Let's get him out of the way, shall we?
Yeah, let's talk to Alex. Yeah.
So we're joined now by our championship leader and race 1 winner, Alex Laho. Obviously, Alex, not the ending you would have hoped for in race 2. So a very mixed day, I think it's fair to say. Kind of Malaysia, but worse. Is that fair to say?
Well, hello guys. Well, I guess you can say that.
Just did.
I just don't have much to say. Sorry, I'm just pissed off.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
Understand, yeah.
Okay. Well, let's focus on the positives. Pole by ahead of Rozak by a 10th.5, and a really great battle with Rozak and Jack May in that first race, Alex. Really felt like Rozak was defending well against you, but you picked your moment really well, made a great round the outside move at turn 1, it must be said.
Yeah, it was a pretty good race, must be said, but I'm gonna be out for Imola. So that's gonna be a big haul of points lost in the championship, and the fact that I lose at least like 13 points easily in race 2 means that Jack is going to be closing in on the championship, and since this incidents keep happening because people don't know how to drive, well, the championship is going to be close.
Okay, well, let's not say something that we all end up regretting. I can tell you from experience, Alex, it doesn't go well. But anyway, I think before you overheat and it collapse into a bloom of anger that might leave a bad image for all of us, not just you, I think we might.
Not my name's not Brody Lawless. All right.
Thank goodness for that. Even Brody's race under his own name, apparently. But these days.
Yeah.
But thank you for talking to us, Alex. And sorry about how race 2 went, but well done on race 1. And have a good break. And
yeah, sorry,
the
guys.
stewards' decisions aren't going in your favor. I think is the only way to say.
Yeah, they have some work to do. But yes, so sorry for the reaction. I'm just not happy with how things unfolded. Ben Skinner's going to be replacing me for Imola, so I wish him the best of luck.
Ooh, very good choice. That must be said. So we wish all the best to Ben and to you indeed, Alex. So have a good night and hard luck on race 2. But you're still the championship leader no matter what. And it's still a lead of at least 60 points now, I think. So yeah, I don't consider to be getting ahead of you when we come back.
Yeah, we'll see. Thank you, Eoin. Thank you, Edward. Thank you, Fabian, for the cameras, and have a good night, guys. Have a good. Lost awards.
Right. Oh no,
Zero.
Soppinen's got bored of waiting and left. Was it Soppinen or was it Scarpelli, sorry? Oh no, Scarpelli's still there.
Oh no.
Okay, I'm getting confused. Right, I'm trying to think. There we go, Soppinen is still there. You heard that. Anyway, he doesn't even compete today. I don't know why I'm worried about that. But, right, shall we go for Jack Mayer, our race 2 winner, and hear what he has to say?
Yes, please, yes.
And I'll let you ask the question this time, Eoin. So we're now joined by our podium finisher in race 1. More importantly, for the first time in 2 years, a winner in FS1 once again in race 2. It is Mr. Jack Mayer. Congratulations, Jack. How are you feeling?
Thank you, guys. I'm feeling good. Apologies if the audio is not great. I'm currently driving to the train station, so yeah, I'm feeling happy. Happy with the win. Happy to finish a race in time to still get there. So, but yeah, no, it was a good night tonight.
Yeah, so Jack,
it never ends. Oh no.
Yeah, sorry, Jack. Do you mind telling us about your decision to start on the softs for race 2? Because it was definitely a rare choice, but it worked.
Yeah, well, with how our factor is, you know, how the weather's basically in slots, so you have like maybe 5-10 minutes of one weather, and then it will switch to something different. And it stopped raining like a long way through warm up, and we noticed it was dry. And it was funny because about half a minute before the end of the session, I was already focused on starting on the full wets, not the inters, because of how they were faring. And then when we were they were slow, but they felt better, and the inters were sliding for me. So when we noticed it was probably going to dry out, and our factor tends to dry out really quickly, I thought, we'll just take a gamble. We're going to lose a lot of places at the start, but you know, if we keep it clean. And yeah, it did dry out pretty quickly. And by the time the crossover happened, I was only about 6 seconds off the leaders, and it was quite useful. I didn't really have to overtake anyone except Alex all race, because every time I caught someone, they decided to box. So I got helped out a little bit from there. But yeah, it was a bit of a gamble, it paid off.
Yeah, super call, Jack, and congratulations again, and safe travels to your train station.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for dropping by, Jack, and best of luck for when we come back in at the end of the break in several weeks' time. Good luck catching the train.
Thank you. See you later, guys. Thank you.
Right, so as we let our most recent winner leave, we have got, let's see, we've got Scott Pelly, who finished 13th in both races, and Mikkonen as well. Can we go for Scott Pelly and then Mikkonen to end?
Yes, please.
All right, joining us now is the man who finished 13th in both races. What I understand, quite short notice, Camp Clay. It is Domenico Scarpelli. Dominique, you're really in the thick of things in all of those races. We enjoyed watching your fights. Did you enjoy being in them?
Yeah, it was really cool, really chaotic, you know, with...
Especially race 2.
Yeah, race 2, switching from the wet tires to the softs on the way to the grid, I think was the best pick, obviously. It was a really big gamble and thankfully paid off. I'm a bit pissed maybe for some contacts or other things that happened that made me lose some time and then getting caught up by the pack behind me, but apart from that, I'm really happy with the race.
Oh, brilliant. We did see you just tried to nip past I think Koenig at the end of race 2.
Yeah, at the end of the race, yes.
About 10th short, so that's always frustrating. But yeah, less, yeah, so much going on. It's good to remember all of it. You're running Pete's improved at one point in race 2 as well.
Yeah.
Like you passed a Juba, didn't you, when you came out of the pits?
Yeah, sort of.
Yeah, hey, it happened. I take it. Oh, and any questions for our not unlucky 13th place man?
Domenico, so I suppose how did you fare in the intermediate conditions heading into the dry? Did you enjoy yourself out there?
I mean, I didn't use the inters in the Eval. Yeah, first laps was really scary, really sketchy. Was really, well, not that slippery like it was the end of race 1, to be honest. It was way slippery there, but thankfully already since the start of race 1, since the end of race 1, it stopped the raining, and then like we had a little drizzle, like, but really nothing in the warm-up. But after that, it was all slicks, like definitely. Like it was legit a matter of 4 or 5 laps, and then in the end we've seen it already with Inters pitting pretty much immediately, you know. So yeah, intermediate conditions for laps 3 are really tricky, and I do not wish to race in these conditions anymore, to be honest, because it was really scary.
Well, it's over now.
So,
yeah, thank God it's over now, yes.
Anyway, thanks for talking to us, Dominic. Let's hope we're doing some more substitute performances, because you're always much fun to watch and to talk to as well. So thank you for filling us in on your end of things, and yeah, we'll see you around.
See ya.
The comeback story today, Pesi Mikkonen. So Pesi Mikkonen will be our final interview of the night then. And Pesi, welcome to the broadcast room. And,
thank you.
Well, it must be said, it's a day of real contrast for you, because race 1, you were taken out on the first lap in a huge collision. There was nothing left of your car. It was so sad that you didn't get to even finish the opening lap. And then race 2, you really showed what you could do with a great drive to P9. You were really fighting at the top 10. You were one of the ones like Mayor that made the call to start on the dry tires, if I'm not mistaken. And that really turned out to be the right call today. So congratulations. Brilliant performance.
Yeah, thank you. It was a complete gamble, though. I was being told in voice call that go Inters, but I was so far back anyway, so I decided to go on softs, man. Thankfully, it paid off.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to much to add to that. Eoin, any questions for our survivor of today?
I suppose Pesi, the race 1 incident, I suppose there was plenty carnage. So what happens that got you involved with it?
Unlucky positioning and not. I was hit sadly a little bit.
Dominique,
Which put me onto
we
the
didn't
ground.
ask him about that.
Oh, yeah. I don't blame him completely. Of course, he did hit me, but I was not familiar with the grass at all, so I just had way too much speed and power going into there and just lost the rear completely. See, yeah.
And more than just the rear, all 3 tires, I think.
Yeah, I lost. After that, I lost everything.
Well, at least you kept your composure, and that served you very, very well in race 2. It's so fantastic to see you really in the thick of things and very important points for Alpha Sierra, who have not scored in a little while. So I'm sure they will be absolutely over the moon, and justifiably so with that. And let's hope we see you back in the FS1 car soon. Was it a late call-up, by the way? You got much practice?
Not really. I did have plenty of practice, but I've had other things to do, so I've not had the maximum amount of practice I'd like. But fair enough practice.
Well, you got a whole break now of 4 weeks until the next race.
Yeah.
So if you get the call up again, then plenty of time
we'll
to prepare.
see.
Well, anyway, thank you for putting on such a brilliant show, and enjoy your well-earned points. Bessie could be the first of many FS1. So congratulations, thanks for talking to us, and have a lovely evening.
Thank you.
All right, and with that said and done, a bunch of FS2 drivers have bumped in the interview room, but I think we're going to, because it's not Tuesday, it will even be, and conclude things and wrap things up then. So, Loho once more unbeaten in race 1s, but Owen, you heard him there. He obviously very put out, understandably, by the way race 2 ended. He definitely feels like a championship leader that is still excelling, but still under a lot of pressure, particularly when the weather conditions change out of his hands like they did today.
Yeah, of course, and I suppose now that he has that notoriety of being able to win so often, I suppose everyone's saying, "Oh, ban Alex," but when you're
a target on his back,
yeah, he does have it. Yeah, everyone is gunning after him now, so knowing that he's going to lose 50 points no matter what, so 50 points minus however many, he's going to be under real pressure upon his return. So I suppose the trick is, he'll say champion will defend their positions as hard as they possibly can. So he'll say, I was never going to yield to Lucas until it was absolutely over. So you have to say it's a debatable one, but from his point of view, he'd say, I'm not going to give up a position for nothing. I'm going to defend. So that's how he came to lose his rear wing. So it's just really unfortunate, but it would have been great to see them fight out in a fair fight, I suppose. The contrasting tires made it difficult as well, so it's a shame, but that's the way it goes sometimes.
When's the next race in June? Is it 11th or 18th of June? And where is it? Do you know?
Be 11th of June in Imola, if I'm not mistaken.
Imola, that's right. Yeah, he did. Alex even mentioned Imola. I can't believe I've forgotten that already. But there we go. So 11th of June, Imola will be the next FS1 round. But of course, before then, next week we have got Super Lights on Tuesday with Paper Days. Alex is taking you through the action there, and of course the big one, Super League with Roy, Kevin Penny and Ross McIntyre, taking you through all the fantastic action there as that championship continues to hot up as everybody trying to catch reigning champion Loic Moynier once again. Well, thanks to you, Eoin, for joining me in commentary. As always, you've been brilliant, Eoin.
You're very welcome, Ed. I'm delighted that I made all 6 of the spring races. Last year, obviously, I took an Easter break holiday, so I missed one. So I'm delighted.
You've been the more consistent one than me this season.
Yeah, it's tough going.
Letting the side down. And thanks, of course, to Fabian for his brilliant broadcast direction, and of course he's encouraging us for a quick off because, like my brother, I think he wants to get some sleep. And thanks to everybody for taking part, and for everybody watching another fantastic GPVWC Formula Sprint 1 round. Well, congrats once more to Loho and Mayor, 2 winners after a very eventful and very wet evening in Montreal. Goodbye and good night.